Good morning. This is Zoom number 93 on March 22, 2025. So it's 3/22/25. And I am just now able to get in. So let me see if I could admit everybody. Thank you for coming on. And I see some folks already. I'm sure you were waiting a few minutes because I was trying to get in and couldn't. So now I am. So thank you. I know we changed our time because of that daylight savings time. And hopefully it's a little better for the Philippines because it's 8 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock, right? Let me see who's here to help me. Is Giselle or Debbie or Mike here? Let me see if I could see. All right, I see Hannah, Hannah, Jenny, Maria, Marvin, Mary Rose, Roberto, Hannah, somebody's in your area is talking.
Sorry.
Verlin, that's okay. You can mute yourself if you want to. Verlin, Vivian, so they're still coming on. Welcome, okay, everyone. And it looks like I was trying to look for somebody to help me be my co-host, and I don't see anybody here that could. Verlin, do you want to do it? I don't see Debbie or Mike or Giselle, none of them yet. So let me see what everybody's saying on chat. Good evening. Roberto said good evening. Good evening. Good morning from here, Roberto. Good evening.
Good evening po. Good morning also.
Okay. Please list your name if you want to talk. If you want to introduce yourself. Looks like a bunch of you are new ones here. Hannah, have I seen you before?
No, Doc.
No, that's what I thought. But you Villaniso. Okay, how did you know about us?
Oh well, Mrs. Hannah Sagrado introduced me.
Okay. Well, thank you, Hannah, for doing that. Do you want to introduce yourself to us?
Well, thank you. Well, I'm Hannah Jane Bilanizo, all the way from the Queen City of the South, Cebu, Philippines.
Okay, I'm from Cebu too.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Did you know that? I'm from Mandawi or originally, but then Lapu-Lapu later.
Oh yeah. Not,
Where are you in Cebu?
Dalagari. Well, Visible
Delegate?
Bus.
Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful place there. Okay, go ahead and tell me more about yourself. Like your education and experience,
Well,
all that.
well, teaching for almost 6 years, and I'm handling grade 3 pupils, and I'm also have diploma in early child education, and I am a dance choreographer also.
A what? A
I am
what?
also I'm also a dance choreographer.
Oh, wow, dance choreographer. Nice, very talented. Do you want to turn on your camera or you ready to, or you don't want to?
I'm sorry,
Well,
but I'm wearing
you don't, you
glasses.
can. It's all right. Well, usually I say if it's your first time of coming, it's nice to see your face.
Yeah.
But it's
Thank
okay,
you
I
so.
understand. But
Thank you.
so what are you choreographing? Are you like part of like do you have a dance team or do you sponsor a
Yeah,
dance team?
a member of Samahang Tagapagtaguyod ng Folk Dance
Oh,
from Cebu.
oh,
Yes.
nice. Wow. So that is not part of your school. It's like a different kind of side gig.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different organization. It's
Oh,
not
wow.
part of.
That's good. Okay. And then so you say you taught elementary, huh? You teach elementary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so why did you want to come to the US?
Well, first is I want to explore more professionally. I want to grow my career and experience a different culture and also dances.
Okay, so you want to, yeah, okay, you want all that. That's good. I always say that teachers should be well-rounded
Yeah.
and, try to have some kind of side gig or side, talent going
Yeah.
on because otherwise you get burnt out. If you get burnt
Yeah.
out, then you're not going to want to continue. So it's nice to have some other thing that you will, maybe looking forward to. And I think that dance
Ano
might
pa yung kuan ako agkuan?
yeah.
Yeah.
Ha?
So, Honey Lynn, is that you talking? Okay, well, it's nice to meet you. I appreciate you coming on, okay? So,
Yeah. It's nice to meet you too, Doc.
yeah, okay. Well, today I would like to see if some people, there's just a lot of folks here that I have not seen before. So nice to meet you. And then Honey Lynn, you want to thank you for introducing her to us.
Hello, Miss. Hello, Doc. I don't know if you can still remember me, but I am already here in Ohio, the one who emailed you.
You did email me. Yeah, thank you. Tell us about let's start with that. Tell us about your Ohio experience. Is it cold in
It-
there?
yeah, it's really cold in there. In here, I mean, it is already March. Spring is already starting, but still, it is cold.
It is cold. Is it not your spring break this week?
Yeah, this week
Okay, wow.
we are going to have our spring break. Yeah, this week. Yes.
Wow, thank you for waking up early on your spring break day.
No, it's already 8 here. You're
Oh,
1 hour.
oh yeah, see, I'm
Yeah.
7 o'clock here.
Yes.
Yeah, my husband is my hero this morning because my alarm for some reason did not wake me up at 6. So he said, well, are you still zooming? And it was already 8 minutes before 7. But at least, yeah, that's good. So tell us about you. What month did you arrive here and tell us about your experiences.
Okay. I arrived here around August 5 something. Yeah, August 5, and then I started my work in my school. As soon as I arrived, actually on August 5,
Oh,
I experienced tornado here.
oh no.
Yes.
Is it for the
So
school or is it home?
instead of going to the school directly, I was not able to go to the school because it's I think it's electricity is not working.
Mm, wow.
Right.
That was a
Yes.
way that was a baptism by fire, a way to thank
Yeah.
welcome you.
Yeah.
Wow, did you get scared?
Ohio welcomed me.
Yeah. Well, did you get scared of the tornado?
Not really, because it's not really in our place, but a sort of experience like strong winds with rain and something like that one. So by the week after that August 5, yeah, the week after I reported to the school. So my school is a charter school
Yeah.
under Axel School.
Okay. I've never heard of
Yeah.
that, but yeah. Is that like
Yes, and
an organization? Is that the umbrella organization or something? Access.
Axel School, yeah, it's like an organization. They are like managing small charter schools, not only here in Ohio, but a lot also in other states. But what I know is they have lot of schools here in Ohio.
Okay. So is that some kind of nonprofit organization or no?
Yes,
Yeah.
something like that one.
That's
Yes,
good. Yeah.
and for my experience here, um a first month, second month trying to adjust, especially with the students, but eventually I overcome it. I accepted the challenge. And
What was the most challenging for you? What
the
was the
most
biggest?
challenging is students fighting inside the classroom.
Are you serious? Wow. So you
Yes.
have a pretty rough, sound like a rough.
Yes.
So how did you handle that? How did you?
We are actually told by our because I am also under RVP.
What's an RVP?
RVP is a consultation, but not they are like an agency, but they help us without any fees.
Hmm.
They work together with Axel schools.
So maybe they're also nonprofit, or maybe they're paid by Axel.
Probably yes.
Mm.
And so they were the one who gave us inputs every month. of
Nice.
what we are going to do, what we are going to things that we need to do, and things that we must do inside the classroom. So during the time that there is a fight in the class, I just like call somebody outside, like other teachers to help me. But of course, in the first part of the arguing, so I, as a teacher, you have to like uh what's this, make something like stop them, divert their attention, so
Mm-hmm.
something like that one. But yeah, some students are not really like to do those diversion, because yes, they really wanted to fight. So that is the most
Wow.
challenging part of my experience. They
Wow.
fight.
What were they fighting about usually? What's the reason?
uh, they are, because I'm in middle school.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so they usually fight like teasing.
Oh,
They like
really?
to tease
Take
each
it
other.
seriously,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's
Mm.
interesting. So then later, how did you stop that? I mean, is it still occurring or did it stop occurring?
It
How did
stopped
you,
occurring.
yeah, what did you do to help you stop?
Um
Them stop.
uh Activities, I see to it that the activities are engaging, like they're instead of teasing each other, they will be more focused on the activity that I have given to them,
Okay. Well, that's
that
cool.
makes
More
them
active.
busy.
Yeah, more engaging, yeah.
Yes, so instead of having time to tease their classmates, so they are like more on focus on the activity given to them.
Okay. Well,
So
that's
that's
cool.
one.
Well, that's good. How long did it take you to get there, to arrive where you feel like, oh, I got this under control? How long did it take you? First month, second month?
3 months.
So
Yes.
those folks that are helping you improve, how they observe you and tell you what to do?
Yes.
Okay, so there are
My
cameras on? Okay.
Yes, there are.
So they're watching you through the camera?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, so that's so good that Ohio is, I don't know how many hours is, let me ask my husband. That Ohio is how long from Arkansas, baby? Ohio.
What?
Ohio. How far is Ohio from us? What part of Ohio?
Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio. How long is that from us? About 8, 10 hours?
Now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 6 or 8 hours.
6 or 8 hours. So that's not bad, but it's still a long drive.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm talking to Hannah Lynn for those that just came on. I know Mike, I just made you a co-host. Mike, thank you for coming on. Hannah Lynn just arrived here in August 5th. So this is 5 plus 3, 8 months for her. And so that is like baptism by fire. I like when it's dark in there, Mike. Anyway, so yeah, so 8 months of baptism by fire because they're all this fighting. For everyone else, it's not really common to have kids fight,
Yes.
but there are some schools where the kids fight. And
Yes.
so usually the kids in high poverty schools that you'll find
Yes.
more of that. But if you find like more of a middle class or upper class schools, you don't see that often. So
Yes.
it depends on
Yes.
your situation. So you could never guess what you're into, but just know that there are always people you can call. Did you have an SRO or a school resource officer or police?
Yes, we have. We
Yeah.
have.
There's always an SRO at most schools. So you can always ask somebody for help. And of course, they know their culture, so they're gonna try to warn you also, right? Did they
Yes.
warn you when you first?
Yes.
Okay.
They did. They did.
Yeah. Middle school's kind of rough. I was a assistant principal at one time at junior high. It was eighth and ninth grade. I guess I never saw anybody fighting, but it was always like more verbal, not like physically fighting, but it was more of a middle class school. So it was mostly African, not African American, mostly white kids, and maybe there's, I want to say, less than 10 students that were black. So it's mostly white kids. In fact, I was the only minority teacher. I
Mm.
was the only minority administrator, in fact. So it was like a different, but whoever, whenever you come to the US, your situation will be totally different. You could never say it's like Hannah Lynn or it's like Mike's or it's like whoever else because it's gonna be so unique, right? So those that are afraid, don't be afraid. I know some of our new teachers here in Helena, for example, and that is the most, I guess that's the roughest, kind of roughest, one of the roughest schools, the school districts around. And you just have a lot of poverty, so I know some of them in the high school, they kind of were afraid to discipline kids at first. And they're tall too. They're tall, much
Yes.
taller than us. And so some of them were really afraid of it. And they told me this. And I'm like, well, if you're going to show fear, the kids are going to read that. If they see fear, they're going to smell blood, literally. And they're gonna say that, oh, I can handle this teacher because this teacher afraid of us. You need to just like act like you're not afraid. You should not be afraid anyway. I guess I know, I have 30 plus years of experience. I've been to any different all kinds of schools. I have never been afraid, not even once. And here I am. I'm only now I'm down to 4'8" or 4'9" now. That's how short I am. But I just use my voice and I use my look, just like make this gaze that like I don't, I'm the adult here. I'm the one in charge here. And so, but at the same time, you let them know that you care about them. That's like, I'm here to help you, so let's work together kind of type thing. So I think your first week is the most important part to establish, your expectations, right?
Yes.
So, do you feel like your first week was successful, or did you kind of feel like you had to redo it? Keep redoing it and keep on trying again. How did it work?
Um, on the first day, I really like established rules, but since I was not really able to really know the students well yet because it's the first month, so I was kind of like uh do rules that we had back in our country, like something like that one. But in the long run, because I have seen and observed that these are the type of my students, and I also like go on to their informations, where they come from, who
Mhm.
are their siblings in the school, something like that one. So I learned that, oh, this is the one that should be implemented, not this one. So in the long run, I've learned it's
Knowledge
not
of
really
students.
like on the
Yeah.
first day.
Yeah. But knowledge of students very important, yes. But Jen, when you establish, you let them get to know you. Like
Yes.
I would always say things like, you know what, if you are from another country, I would say things like, I'm from the Philippines, and I don't know if you know where that is, and I would show a map of where that is, and here you are, and here you are, and here is the Philippines, and I traveled 10,000 miles away, to get here. So let's have a good year. I'm really expecting to learn a lot from you because I want to learn about the American culture, and I'm hoping that along the way I can also teach you something about the Philippines.
Yes.
And I'm like, raise your hand if you want to learn about the Philippines, and they'd raise their hand. A lot of times I'd bring some Filipino something new food like sky flakes or something, so things like that they might like and have them to try. And who is that? Who's that? Is that your bunch there? But
That's my kid.
that's your kid, yeah. How old is your kid?
She's 5.
5. Okay, so she's not starting school.
She did. She
Oh,
she
she did.
started school.
You
Yes.
brought her with you as a J1 or J2?
J2. Yes. They just follow me last February 5th.
Oh, they're so new here. Nice.
Yes.
So you're happier that your family's here.
Yes. Very happy.
Okay, tell me about your living situation. Are you living with someone like to start with? Did you live with?
Yes.
Okay.
I am living with another Filipino teacher.
Okay. So when your
Y-
family came, are you still living with them or?
Yes, we are still living. We have like big house, so we just like divided the rooms.
Okay.
So something like that one. Yes.
Well, that's very common too, that you when you come here, you won't be able to bring your family unless you just really have lots of money
Yes.
saved up. So, so anyway, so it is a sacrifice at first because here you are trying to save money so you can bring them here, right?
Yes.
And you want to make sure your situation is right, like you have room for them, of course. So how are you dividing that when you have a kid? You have one kid and then a husband, and it's your family. That your roommate also have one?
My roommate has she brought her husband, but she did not bring her kid. She has one kid, so she just did not bring her kid because it's the kid the her daughter is still 4, I think. So she can't bring because nobody will gonna look
Yeah, yeah,
for her daughter. Yes.
yeah.
So I have 3 kids.
Okay.
Okay, so they are like, because when they arrived, we are not yet done with the contract here in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So we still stay here, but this coming July we are going to move.
Okay.
Yes, and looking for we are already have a house with 2 rooms,
Okay.
something like, yes.
So,
But
is
for
that for
this for
you and a friend, or you and your family?
if we move on July,
Mm-hmm.
me and my family, and there's another friend, but it's a big house, like it has 5 bedrooms.
Okay. That's good. I,
Mhm.
I think that helps a lot when you have somebody else to help with the bills, right? You the
Yes.
utilities. Are the utilities in Ohio expensive? Like,
No.
yeah, what is the monthly bill for the electric?
For the electricity, it is from 80 to 100.
That's cheap.
Yeah, cost of
Big
living here
house,
in Ohio is like,
cheap.
um, yeah, cheaper. Yes, cheaper.
Because usually, if you say $80 to $100, that's usually just maybe at 2 or 3 bedrooms.
Yes,
Is that right? You have 2 or 3
yes,
bedrooms. Okay.
yes,
If you have 4 or 5 bedrooms, then that usually doubles. Or
yes. But when I checked the house, the owner told us that it still is 80 to 100 because electricity here is a little bit cheaper. Cost of living here in Ohio is actually cheaper.
it depends on where you are. Yeah.
Yes.
If you are in the capital, it's not going to be cheap. But
Yes,
yeah,
in Columbus, yes.
yeah,
It's a little bit expensive.
yeah. So how about Filipino store? Are you close to a Filipino store, an Asian store?
Yes, an 8-minute drive.
Wow, you're
Uh
lucky.
and then there's another one like 10-15 minutes, I think.
So you can
Yes.
still get your Filipino food. That's good.
But it's expensive.
I know it's expensive. So most of those folks that would go back to the Philippines like the first year after this 2 years or after 1 year, they bring back all this stuff that were like so expensive here. Like, for example, dried fish. Daing is very expensive here, right? And I'm like,
Even dilis.
Dilis is very expensive. So I'm like, so the next time I go, so I would go to Tabuan. Tabuan is that like really
Yes,
cheap in
tabuan.
Cebu. And so you get it like let them have it vacuum sealed. So it's not gonna stink up
Yes.
everything. So vacuum seal everything. And then so yeah, I would get like squid and dilis and then all kinds of I like the filleted daing, the white ones that's filleted, so no bone. So
Oh,
I
yes.
like that one, yeah.
What was that?
Pinik,
Danggit.
no, danggit is too little, but it's good too. But
Ah,
danggit, that's little, yeah. But I like the big one,
okay.
yeah. So anyway, but when the Filipino teachers will come back or, would visit and come back, they always bring me some of those because that's what I like. And so when they come over to visit and stay with me, that's what we eat. I things that people gave me. I'm
Yes.
down to my last package. So whoever goes home, I'm like hinting. Usually I try to send money, try to buy me some or whatever, but I know that they also want something for their own. But a lot of time they always remember me and try to give me something. Hi, Mike. Any of your family going home, Mike? How come you're in the dark, Mike? Are you
Hello?
driving?
Yes po, we're currently traveling to Cali.
California?
Yes po.
Wow, I'm proud of you.
With Ma'am Jing's family and Sir Ernest and Ma'am Annalisa. So we are 2 cars now. We
Oh,
left
that's so cool.
yesterday
Uh-huh.
around 1 p.m. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good
And
for
now
you, Mike.
we are now what is this? New Mexico.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, Mike, that's usually a 3-day drive. So I guess if you're doing
Yes
it in
po.
what, 2 days? Are you doing it in two
Yeah,
days?
yes po. We're going to stop later on um in Arizona.
Mm.
Arizona Welcome Center, and then we'll continue to Grand Canyon po.
I'm so proud of that. Yeah, I have been
Yeah.
in Grand Canyon so many times, but that is one of the most beautiful sights that you would ever see. I felt so little. I feel like God is so powerful and so, wonderful to build this really, so amazing place.
Yep.
This is I'm telling you, take a lot of pictures. Every time I
Yeah.
go, I take lots and lots of pictures because yeah, and do you know that Grand Canyon has so many people dying, falling in some areas. So be careful with the kids because I know they have like railings and stuff, but some people would go and try to lean over or try to take some dangerous things, you know, steps. So be careful
Siyempre
about
lang,
it. I was
hindi
very
naman
paranoid about
necessary, pero
that. Like
gibaran nila kung
who is
imong
that?
anak,
Hi, was that Juan Marie? Was it Anna Marie?
liparan
Can you
nila
please
kay
mute yourself, please?
basig
CTU,
magdaghan
yeah,
sa
Anna
mga
Maria.
lugar.
Anne Marie.
Okay.
Nya karon
Anne Marie,
baka
can you please let me? Who's the host, Mike?
Yes po.
Can you, because you're driving, it's gonna be
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Let me,
I'll
ha?
transfer the hosting later on po.
Anne
Hello, Ma'am
Marie,
Anna. Yeah.
Anne Marie, can you please mute yourself? We can hear everything you're saying.
For a while mo.
Yeah.
Mike, do you want me to find somebody else to be co-hosting, Mike?
Yes po. I
Sorry,
think
ma'am.
Ma'am Giselle is there po. Ma'am Giselle.
Giselle, okay, let me find Giselle because if we have something like that, I hate for Mike to get distracted while he's driving. So thank you. Giselle, is that okay if I make? Oh, Mike has to do it though.
Yes po.
Yeah, Mike, have somebody else to do it while you're driving. To change it to a different host, find Giselle. But thank you, Anne Marie, for stopping that. I know that happens. I've done that before, so no big deal. But anyway, so I am very proud of Mike. Are you taking the Prius, Mike? Because that's gonna save you a lot of money. Did you take the Prius?
No po.
You're not. Okay, you're taking that.
Yes
You're
po.
taking the SUV. Okay. Well,
Yes po.
anyway, so
Yeah, because Ma'am Jing's son is here.
mhm.
Jimwell and Dwayne. Yeah, because Ma'am Jing and Koy are there with Sir Ernest and Ma'am Anna, including Jairi.
Yeah.
Yes po.
So there's what, about 9 of you
Yes
total?
po. And
Wow.
then yeah, we divided the the expenses for the gasoline.
Oh, that's so good, Mike. It's gonna cost you a bit because, but at least it's not $4 a gallon like it was when the last time we visited. So it's actually just less than $3 a gallon, right?
Yes po. Yes po.
Yeah.
As of now po, the most expensive, I think it's 2.32. Yeah, 2.31, 32.
That's
Like
the
that.
most expensive or the cheapest?
Yes. As of the moment po.
Cheapest.
It's not expensive po. The most expensive here.
Well,
Na nagas, yes po. I gas, yeah. I already gas up how many times? 4 times. And that's the most expensive po.
oh,
Two
wow.
point. Yeah, because I'm using an app wherein I
Okay.
can save a gallon. And
Waze? Is that Waze, the Waze
yep.
app?
It's upside apps.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
And then every time you want to gas up, you need to click that or open that, and it will find a gasoline station that has a cheaper price of gas.
Hmm.
And yeah, aside from that, you will get a rebate.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, Mike, be careful on your drive. I see a bunch of big trucks following you or something. Anyway, what time is it there? I think you're what, three
Yes,
hours
po.
before us?
Yeah, I think we are 1 hour late. Behind. Sorry, behind Arkansas time. So
So
it's
it's
6:36
6:30.
here.
Okay, it looks
Yes, po.
dark still, but I like the sunrise there behind you. But anyway,
Yes.
well, Mike, I think that's the way you're doing it. Driving is the best way because especially if you have not very many people, because if you have two people only, it's actually cheaper to fly. But if you have 9 people like you do, then it's definitely
Mhm.
better to drive. Yeah,
Yes, po.
because
We'll have, yeah, because our plans are to stop in every welcome center and the signage.
Oh yeah. Be careful. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Well, I think I would recommend New Mexico in the Carlsbad Caverns. Carlsbad Caverns has is this is cave. And it's so funny because it's a cave, and when you go down in the bottom of the cave, there's a restaurant.
And
I
then
was
when we
like,
go back po, our plan is to stop by some, what do you call that, historic Route 66.
yes, Route 66. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one to travel. I think that's what we did too. Dwayne was wanting to do that. See, we did that we went out west for 9 days once, and that's driving with a RV. And then, so that was kind of convenient because you kind of felt like you have a home, but then it was so expensive.
Yes
I
po.
think it cost us $1,000 for the gas back then. But yours should be cheaper because it was not
Mhm.
$4. It's $4 a gallon back then. But then we also have done where we flew. Dwayne flew our plane, and then we were there for also about 8 or 9 days. But that was
Mhm.
way convenient. The problem with that was, and I was pregnant with Jet for I think I was 3 months pregnant with Jet. No, was it Stephanie? It was Stephanie, I think. Anyways, pregnant with Stephanie, and when you're pregnant, you want to go to bathroom all the time. Oh my gosh, I was in the middle of maybe somewhere between Oklahoma, and I said I need
Yes
to go to bathroom. And when you have a four-seater airplane, you don't have a place to go to bathroom. And so he would give me like a bottle here. I said, nope, I cannot do bottle. And so I said he had to like look at his map and see what the closest airport was. And so we went to the small airport, landed there, and oh my God, there's no bathroom because it was such a small airport. So we have to take off again. I was so mad by then because I was needing to go to the bathroom. But it was something that I always remember because I remembered being so like, oh my God, aggravated that I could not go to the bathroom. So those are experiences that you remember. Are your kids doing kinds of a diary or journal, Mike? They need to do that so they'll remember it. So
they're just busy playing their gadgets po.
gadgets, yeah. Yeah, they do
Yeah,
that.
actually po, Doc, you remember this is our second time to travel here.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So you're more experienced now. So at first, yeah, everything is new now. So like, I've seen that, been there, done that now, huh?
Yes po.
So another thing that your kids can do, Mike, that my kids did that really liked it, like, and every little, for example, in Grand Canyon, they'll have this machine, the penny machine, where you put a
Mm.
penny in and you put in 50 cents to make it go, and then it prints Grand Canyon on it. So they would have collection of that. So they would do the
Uh,
penny collection. So every penny they got were from wherever we were. So Stephanie and Jet would collect those. So there'll be a major attraction. There'll be, more than one. Like for example, if you go to Disney World, for example, Disney World may have a dozen, maybe 20 different ones because they have depending on where you visit. And so they have this little pocket container holder thing for this coin. So one day I think when we were moving to this new house and I found it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I found their collection of all these pennies that were flattened out. Do you know what I'm talking about? That penny that it's almost like
yes
a
po.
wheel. Yeah, and the kids for some reason really like to do that. So I don't know, you have your kids try it, Mike. And if you can find like a really um new penny, it looks better rather than an old penny. It's just really shiny. Yeah. Try that because that's something they will always remember because it's not
Yes
going to
po.
go bad. Yeah.
And
Anyway.
then tonight po, we're going to try to camp. Actually, we book a campsite po sa
Oh,
Arizona.
okay.
Yeah, it's Mother Campground. Yeah, and good luck to us. It seems like it's still cold because today is in degrees. Yeah, in Celsius, it's still 4 degrees here.
Oh
And
my
good luck
gosh.
to us.
Well, are you bringing like sleeping bags?
We have a tent po.
Oh my gosh, Mike, that's not enough. You're gonna have to have
Mhm.
tent and sleeping bags
Yes
unless
po,
you have
and
lots
then
of blankets.
we brought how many? What is that? Airbeds. Yeah, I think we brought three airbeds.
Oh my gosh. But Mike,
Yes
everybody's
po.
not gonna keep you warm. So you better have
Mhm.
brought some blankets and things. Lots of
Yeah.
blankets.
And then I think only the boys will sleep will sleep on the tent while the girls will stay in the cars po, because the car has have the heater.
You just wanted to experience that? Is that what you're doing? I hope you don't hurt yourself because that is you
I
could freeze to.
we didn't expect that po. But our main purpose is to save and of course to stay there and to rest. Actually, that is only one night.
Mike, it only takes one night to die. So you have to be thinking about safety, okay? I don't want you all to think that
Yes, pa.
you
Yes,
have
pa.
money and you die. So
Yeah.
don't do that.
I will
Anyway,
try. We will check the temperature po.
you do. It's if
Yes.
it's below freezing, I might want to think twice. I know you may have already paid a little bit on something, but you have to think about, is this worth my life? You know, I
Yes,
was
pa.
yeah. We were camping one time and we had this little choice, right? This little pop up. This is called a pop up not RV, but pop up camper thing where you see people carrying this and it's like look like a square deal that you just it pops up open. And Dwayne really wants to have that. And oh my gosh, it was so cold. And he was like trying to turn on the stove in order to warm up the whole thing. That's dangerous for the gas thing, you know.
Yes.
And so anyway, the girls and I was my daughter Stephanie, and then we had an exchange student from Brazil back then. So we decided, oh my goodness, there is a hotel nearby. So we went down there and yeah, it was not expensive by the time you think about how many people are there, you know. So we stayed at the hotel, but Dwayne was so hard-headed. He stayed at the camper, you know, but we had so many blankets and things, so he was safe, you know. But yeah, I always bring so many blankets. But anyway, but that's still very cozy to be in the hotel. It was way better. I mean, I do not regret going there, but I felt bad at first, like, oh, are you sure you want to stay here? Oh yeah, you know. He was like very adamant about staying. And I guess that was part of the experience that he wanted, but that's not part of ours, you know. I guess we were chickens. We were
Yes, sir.
chickens. But anyway, yeah. So just be safe. I think you have lots of common sense.
Yes, po.
Yeah. But especially the kids, Mike, you have to be careful about, freezing them. Yeah. How old are the kids that are with you? What's what's the
uh,
youngest and the oldest?
Dwayne, how old are you? 14? I think 14. Kelly is 15. And Jim Well, I think is 16.
Okay, and
17, yeah. And Margot is 10.
Jairi is younger, right?
7. Yes, po.
7.
7.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that would be a lot of memories for the kids, though, right?
Yes.
A lot of memories for them. Yeah. Anyway, so be safe, and I'm too excited for you guys. And share some pictures. I'll be following. Send us some pictures.
Yes,
I'll
po.
post some pictures, and I will try to follow that and look at what you're doing. So, what other major places are you gonna go? Are you gonna go to Disneyland or anything since you're in California?
I think the Hollywood sign po, and then the Walk of Fame. Yeah.
Hollywood sign.
Because I think that, yes po, because who is this? Ma'am Ching's family. This is their first time po to
Oh,
go
okay.
there.
Okay, got
Yes.
it. So you're helping them, yeah. Well, the
Yes,
Hollywood
po.
sign may have been affected by the fire. So it might not be as pretty as it was. So if it is still there. Because there was this huge fire. So you're gonna see a lot of evidence of the fire, just flattened the whole place. So I do not know if you can even come in some areas because they're still trying to rebuild. So you just have
Mm,
to plan ahead on that. I mean, try to, yeah, have an extra, planning there. Um, Disneyland, I know it's expensive, but it was really worth it, but it's not as pretty as Disney World. I mean,
yes.
but it is more traditional. It's like the original one, so, but
And I think po, what is that forest? The sequoia?
oh yeah, the Sequoia National, yeah, that's
Yeah, the
giant
sequoia.
forest thing. Yeah. See,
Yes
you're
po.
doing the things that Dwayne and I were wanting to do that I have not got done yet. So that's one. I have a friend that lives about an hour from there, and he said, "Oh, Merlina, if you ever come here, come stay with us." And you know me, I don't like staying with people. I like to stay in hotel, but I would like to do that. And then there's also the Yellowstone National Park. That's Wyoming. There is a
There you go.
what was it? There's something in California though. That's the what's Yosemite, is that one thing? Is it Yosemite National Park? Is that also in Wyoming though?
I'm not sure po. Yeah, yes. I think, yeah, I think Ma'am Ann mentioned that. Yosemite. Yosemite.
Yosemite.
Yosemite or Yosemite?
Yosemite.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the pronunciation of that. Yosemite.
Yosemite. Yeah, Yosemite. I trust. Yeah, trust Mike. It's also Yosemite. Yeah. For it's not phonics friendly because in phonics you would have said Yosemite. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what I wanted to use. But anyway, okay. Well, it getting brighter. That's good. Well, and everyone have a safe trip, okay? And have fun.
Yes, but
Be
yes,
safe.
but
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Okay.
We
All
miss you.
right.
We miss you in Brinkley, though.
Huh? Yeah, I
We
know.
miss you.
I'm going there the third. Let me see. Yeah, the third. I'm going there the third. So I
Yeah.
will be, that's my last day. So April 2nd of the night, Mike, if you all will talk about it, but if you all would like to come over to the hotel, your couples, the
Yes,
couple,
but
you can
yes, but.
come and
Oh,
eat with me.
did I mention to you that I've already passed the the practice 53-55?
Good job. Yay.
Yes, but
Congratulations, Mike. Was
thank
that
you, but
hard? Was that
yeah,
hard?
I will say, yeah, I'm working on my two practices now, the foundation of reading and then the what they call the fundamentals, the core subjects po,
Uh-huh.
LM, math, um, science,
Social
and
studies. Social studies.
social studies. Yeah,
Well, you
I joined the RPrep in it's a Great
great
Rivers.
drivers, yeah. I think they do a
Yes,
good job there. Was that Kelsey and them doing it?
yes po, and
Yeah.
Miss Sarah Hayes,
Sarah, okay. Well,
and then
anyway, with the four core, Mike, you can either take it as one for 4 hours or take it one at a time. Are you planning
yes
to
po, I
take it
think
one at
one
a
of
time?
that. Yes po,
Yeah.
one of that.
I think I would start with math if I were you.
Yes po.
Yeah. For the
Good luck.
literacy, Mike, you're gonna have to read some of the, they'll tell you that some of the readings that might be, that you are expected to know, some of the
Yes
literature
po.
that are taught in those grades. So you may want to be familiar with them. So we have a little disadvantage because we were not born here. So we do not grow up with some of the literature that our kids here in America have grown up with. I remember taking a literature class in college as part of my teaching for my teaching degree, and my husband had to teach me about the three bears and the Goldilocks and the three bears and all these other things that our
Well,
kids here grew up with, and I did not know. And here I was, a 21-year-old, 22-year-old lady that did not know anything about their literature. So that's something that you have to remember, that you are a little bit of disadvantage. So anyway, well, good luck on that. And so I will talk to you later when I go on my last visit there. So I want to get
yes,
together with you guys, and maybe hopefully Myrna and Joel and them, could come over to the hotel and have dinner with us, a buffet with us, because
yes po.
I have to spend all my comps in order for me to, not lose. Well, I don't think I lose them, but we have plenty to pay for y'all. So yeah, so we'll
Yes
talk
po.
about it later and see who.
We're looking
The
forward for
biggest.
the crab legs po, though.
Huh? What?
For the crab legs.
Probably no, now it's not Thursday. It's a Thursday night. I mean, it's a Wednesday night. There's not gonna be a crab legs because
Uh,
yeah, they don't have crab legs until like Friday. But the buffet there is not
mm,
bad though. It has everything else still. So
yes.
yeah. So you might want to think about so that's the first weekend, that's the first week of April. So you need to ask if somebody could babysit, because remember, kids under 21 are not allowed in there.
Yes po, yes.
So make sure that, yeah, the adults can come, and because it's a casino, so they really do not allow anybody underage. That's the only
Yes.
one really that would not let, like in Tunica, all those hotels would let kids come in and eat, but not there. They're the only one that's really strict about that. So everybody has to be over 21 or over.
Yes po.
Yeah. All right, guys. I will talk to everyone else, but thank you again. And it's now you got light again now, Mike.
Yes po. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
already
All
up
right,
po.
thank you.
Thank
Yes, be careful. Okay, Giselle, you are now the co-host, like Mike said, they suggested. And so we have a few more people now. So Giselle, do you want to look at the list and see, look at the chat and see if anybody would put their names there that they wanted to talk? I see some people saying hello. Roberto said hello. Um, Good evening from Giselle. Safe travels, according to Giselle. Oh, Anne Marie said sorry. That's okay. All right. So who wants to talk first? Giselle, you want to call somebody for me?
Let me, I think there
People will need to
anyone.
take
Can you
their
hear me, Doc?
camera. Yeah, turn on your cameras if you can, okay? Because it looked awful on video if we just see a blank ones. But anyway, so Gisela, you were not ready to co-host. You didn't think I was gonna call you, so that's okay. But the others, especially if it's your first time, I was really hoping you'll turn on your cameras. So anyway, so who are you calling, Giselle?
Can you hear me, Doc?
Who?
Can you hear me? No, Doc.
Yeah, it's like an echo. It's like you are in a
Um,
cave.
okay. Let me see who's near there. I think, I'm not sure if Mama Rivers Jackson is near.
Who?
Mary
Yes, ma'am.
Jackson. Yeah,
Hello.
she's on.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. You gonna be able to turn on your camera?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, it's way better to have a camera.
So once again, my name is Mary Rose E. Hobson. I hold a bachelor's degree in secondary education, major in physical science.
Okay.
I started teaching since 2011, which makes 13 years of teaching experience. I taught different sciences like physics, chemistry, earth and life science, and general science.
Okay.
I
So you,
have experience teaching grade 5 through grade 10. And um, so, yeah, with those experience, I have a deep understanding about how the students learn and how to cater their different learning styles.
okay. Well, very good. You got your fan going. You look like you're in the in a windy
Uh,
place. Yeah. It's
uh,
is
the
that
electric fan is near me.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that somebody in your neighborhood or somebody's talking behind you? Anyway, is that your background? Somebody talking in your background, is it somewhere else?
Outside, I think the
Outside.
neighbor.
Yeah, you got neighbors?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. They're partying, huh?
Near our gate.
Well, tell me
Sorry.
why you want to come to the US? Why do you want to come here?
Um, I really want to experience the education system in the US. I know that it will give me more opportunities to help me grow and develop as a teacher. Actually, I'm not that confident enough, but I want to take risks. I want to explore. I want to learn something new. I really want to go in the US. So, not just only for teaching, of course, I also want to explore the different cities
Okay.
because that's also my dream. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I would, if I were you, I would include being a science teacher. As a science teacher, I believe in, in knowing about our world, and going to the US would be different, and that would make me a learner because I also like to explore, like you said. Okay. So kind of give it back. I mean,
Yes.
bring that your subject that you're teaching back in your answer. And I think that would help. I think you're confident enough. Do not say I'm not confident enough. Don't say that because that will
Ah,
make you feel like you're not confident. Then it's kind of lower down your self-esteem type thing. So you want to say you want to be confident, like, I know I have a lot to learn. You can say that. I know I have a lot to learn because it's a new environment, but I am, you can say things like I'm passionate about teaching key science, and I know that there are some things that I can teach the students, but also I can also learn from them. Okay, so you show that you are also learning, that you're a learner. Okay, because
yes.
it's a new environment and you're gonna be, it's new to you, but at the same time you have something to put to contribute by showing kids what another country's culture is like. So that is like an intercultural exchange because J1 visa which is the teacher exchange visa, is actually about learning what you learn from America and what America, you know, also teaches you, or you teach America. I'm sorry, what you teach, children in America and what they can teach you as a teacher. So, because it's a different setting totally, and the kids are so different. Have you seen any of our older videos where we were talking about how the kids behave? And I think Hannah Lynn earlier also mentioned. Are you not afraid?
Actually, I'm watching movies that
Okay.
are related to teacher, American American setting,
Okay.
classroom. So kind of like I know what's there, what will be the scenario.
Nah,
So I'm actually preparing myself,
but doing the
and
movies it's not really gonna be that realistic, Mary Rose,
yes,
because they are gonna it's set up. They're setting it up according to their story. So unless I think there were some like more so almost like a documentary, but it's based on true story. Those kind of stuff might be more realistic. But just any other movie will not be as realistic. But if it's based on a true story of a teacher experience, then that would be different. And I wish I could remember some of the titles. There's something that a teacher from LA that had really bad experience and turn around the kids and made it successful. I think that's one of those that's very close to what you might experience in the high poverty schools. So what kind of titles have you seen? Do you remember the titles?
mm, I, I think it's a Disney series titled An English Teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and but it's LGBTQ plus
Okay.
kind of movie. Yes,
Well, you'll see that too everywhere. But anyway, just remember that when you're watching it on the movie, that might not be very realistic, okay? So, but it's close enough. Some of the extreme may be shown, in some cases. But
yes.
your experience will be totally unique, very different. Do you have a state of choice? Do you have a state you want to go to? Is there a state?
Actually, ma'am, if there's any state that will give me the opportunity, I will grab it for as
Mm,
long as the place is safe. Of course, I will need to also search
okay.
for yeah of
Yes.
what kind of the place is, the people, everything.
Very
I think
good.
that's really important because
Yes.
I have a family that will
Hmm.
also
Be going with you.
go with me. Yes,
Yeah. How
yes.
old are the kids?
So I only have one kid, mom.
Mm-hmm.
She is 5 years old.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's a perfect age because they can go to school at 5 here. And so
Yes,
so then you don't have to worry about babysitters, because if you go to a big place like California, for example, when it's very expensive for the babysitter. But in Arkansas, we have one of the lowest standard of living. So we're pretty cheap in Arkansas. So you may find apartment or something for $600-700, or that's a house, but that might be double that or triple that in California. So just be aware of that. And in Arkansas, for example, that's all I know a lot about because that's where I got my experience of 30 plus more years of experience in Arkansas. So we have we start at $50,000. So the other states, so this is about close to 3 million pesos. And so for other states,
okay.
it's gonna be more, but then you also have to think about you have to pay more every month because of everything is expensive. And housing is going to be a lot, is the most expensive one that you will have to pay. So yeah, do your T chart and see which one which one will be better, because in America, all of the schools will have their website, and so you can research on what their pay is. So it's going to be one, they call it salary schedule. So you're going to look at a salary schedule, and it will have a table like zero experience to usually 20 years of experience. And then across, it would say bachelor degree, master, specialist, doctorate. And so you can kind of see where you are, and then see how much money you will be making. But do not ask that as a question. Like when you're being interviewed, it's like, hey, do you have a question for us? Don't say, how much do you pay? Don't say that.
Yes,
Okay. I would rather ask you, what would be a question that you might ask them? I'm interviewing you now and I say, hey, do you have Mary Rose? Do you have a question for us? What would you ask us?
Maybe would ask about if they're going to, if ever I will be hired, are they going to give orientation, or what could be the
Maybe professional development training that you need?
yeah, like
Yeah.
that, something like that, ma'am.
Yeah,
Since
yeah,
it's my first time,
right.
so I really want to have it like that.
Yeah. So you can have, you ask, do you have any PD, professional development, for new teachers? Well, of course, the answer is going to be yes. And then, so you may ask if you have a mentor. Will a mentor be assigned to new teachers, like a go-to person, so that I could ask questions or whatever?
Ask question.
Yeah. And a lot of times they will assign you like the team leader. You know, so for example, your science, they would be the science leader of the team leader. They would assign you that so that they will show you how to do your lesson plans, how to do, you know, the things that you need to know. But for you, before you even get hired, you can do your own research by going to their website and look for the teacher handbook. You, teacher handbook would show you all the how they do their discipline, what are the things that teachers need to know. So you just read it. It's a lot of reading, but it will always have a lot of headings, so you'll know. But I would highly recommend that you know what this discipline they use, okay, and maybe um you know the steps, like if a child will get in trouble, it's usually a verbal warning, and then the next time it might be, you know, a call to the counselor's office will be contacted, and the next step, if it goes higher, maybe the parents will be contacted, and then
Okay.
after that will be an office referral. So you need to know those, because if they ask you a question, then they'll know that you did look at their website and see those. Okay, teacher handbook. And then know their vision and mission. One of them, I don't know if it was a vision or the mission, one of them is short. Memorize it if you can. And then when they ask you questions, incorporate some of those keywords from their mission and vision and say, just like your mission says, or just like your vision says, and then use one of the keywords. And that's impressive, because that means they know that, oh, you did look at our school, you did do your homework. Okay, so do that. And for science, they would be asking you about the science standards. So what you need to do then, in any state that you want to go to, you know, you can go to www.schoolspring.com, and that is where you can actually apply. Just make sure there's so many, yeah, there's so many filters, and you just check the filter that says full time. You want to be a full time, and you need to check teacher, and you can even check what state it is. Okay, and then so what you need to do is know the standards, because it's going to be posted in their website of the Department of Education. For example, in Arkansas, in the Arkansas Department of Education, you can go to under framework or standards. You can search it. Usually their website, their main page would have a search place where you can search, and by letters. So you can put S for standards, or F for framework, or curriculum, C for curriculum. And then so then you will look at the standards. So if I were you, I would really be ready for that, because you want to see if they're using what type of standards they're using. Is it similar to the Philippines, or is it different? So you can even say the difference. You know, like, I know you have this in your standards, but in the Philippines we don't, and that's why, you know, I studied and all that and found out more about it. Because sometimes, especially if it's a school that's not very used to hiring international teachers, they're gonna keep wondering, okay, what does this teacher know? What are we afraid that this teacher does not know that the kids need to know? You know, so it's good for you to let them be aware that you have been doing your homework, that you do know your standards. Okay, so I think if you send me your resume and cover letter to McCullough Merlina at Gmail, then you will send you some document that has all these links to the curriculum standards, to all this, to the places that you can apply to. I have compiled 50 states, you know, Google sheet that has all the 50 states in ABC order, and it has all the usually the top 10, top 15 bigger cities there.
So,
You can just click on it and it goes straight to that where the job thing is. So the job site is. So make sure that you do that. If you haven't done that, so send it to me and I will send it to you because that's always what I do. The teachers would send me the resume and cover letter and I would correct it. I would say something like a big important thing that people always miss is like having your little picture on top, have a little picture on top, and then have on the very bottom need to have three references. You need to have two administrators, usually a supervisor and principal or something, and then the third one would be your colleague. So make sure you put their phone number and their email because they're gonna email them a survey asking about you to rate you from 1 to 10. What kind of person are you in organization, in dealing with parents, and so on. So there's usually 10 to 12 items that they ask you. So whoever you put down as a reference, make sure you tell them to check their email because a lot of times they want that email answered and be have your rating. And that's very important because without that, you won't get an interview. So there are some teachers.
Actually, ma'am,
Hmm?
I already applied to
Okay,
different schools through
okay,
School Spring
okay,
and through their update track. I actually got through direct hiring I mean, through direct application, I got 4 interviews already.
okay.
However, I think I did not pass with their first interview through video interview. I actually do not know what's the problem or what happened. I did not
What's the
receive any
direction?
response at all.
What's the direction
So,
that they said? Did they say 2 to 3 minutes? What did they say? Or a lesson?
there's a there's series of questions. I think five to seven questions. Then I answer it for only 1 minute.
Okay.
It has
Tell,
said
tell me some of the questions.
yeah,
Do you remember some of the questions?
yes, mom. Like um, tell me something about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you like uh to join our team? Something
Okay.
like that.
Right.
And then, what
So
are
that,
your teaching
yeah.
strategies?
Okay, so they're actually asking you things that you have discussed here in our Zoom. This is our 93rd Zoom. So they're actually asking you the five core propositions of National Board. And these are the five things. I don't know if you're aware of this, but anyway, so you say your name, right? You say your name, you say your education, the things that you just told me. And then why you want to come to the US or to their state or whatever. And then the rest of the questions are going to fall in under one of these five things. They're going to ask you about knowledge of students. Why is it important to know students? They're going to ask you about strategies, so that's your knowledge of content. So knowledge of student, knowledge of content, and they're going to ask you about assessment. So assessment is about how you assess your students before, during, and after. So formative assessment is part of that. How do you know that they're learning with you and they're with you? So thumbs up, thumbs down, all these things. And then the last two would rhyme, and it's easy to remember. It's a reflection. So you reflect on your lesson. What went right? What went wrong? What are the next steps because of what I know from what happened? So you're reflecting back. And so from your reflection, you're gonna decide on the next steps. And then the last one is collaboration. And when on collaboration, they're gonna ask you about your communication with parents. They're gonna ask you about, do you get along with colleagues and so on. So if you know those five core proposition, knowledge of content, knowledge of student, knowledge of student, knowledge of content, assessment, that's in the middle, and then reflection and collaboration, those things are gonna be in those questions. Okay. So I think what I recommend for you is watch some of our videos because in each of these videos we have examples of them. And so you could say things about, like how to get to know your kids. You can talk about like in the beginning of the year, I always have conversation with them. They have their journals that I read every day or read every week, whatever. And then I have whenever yeah, when they first come in, I always wait by the door and I would say something to them. And I even attend basketballs or other sports to watch them, all this. So you get to know your kids that way, plus the parents. And then for knowledge of strategies and content, you need to make sure that you talk about engaging strategies such as, gallery walk, do you do cooperative learning where they are working as a group and they're assigning roles? One is a leader, one is a materials manager, and the different roles that you do as a scientist, and then the gallery walk would do what other strategies do you try in science? What have you tried or have you used?
Actually, ma'am, in my classes, I usually integrate differentiated instruction,
Good. Yeah.
project-based, and the integration of ICT, ma'am, because those three strategies will really produce an engaging and interactive classroom. So
Very good.
those are my strategies.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
You answered them, and so you answered him that way. You need to say that you need to show that your kids are actually doing, because it's science. You need to include how they're discovering, how they're the scientific process. You need to talk
Yes.
about that, okay? Quickly that you use I think in Arkansas the expectation is that you do experiment once a week. So
Yes.
we want to say some things. You could even use as an example. Like, for example, my students really like this experiment, whatever. I don't know, volcano is always an example, but it's always an elementary, third and fourth grade. But for the high school, think of an experiment that you have done that the kids really enjoy. So for example, in our class, my students always enjoy this particular experiment, and this is very good because the students were able to understand this. So that's when you would use your strategy in there. You're putting your content, like, I think one of the science things that kids like those dissection. In high school they like to dissect things. They dissect frogs, they dissect like baby piglets and baby pigs, and then they would do those owl pellets. Have you done those where the owl pellets where they would look at the examine what the owl ate and talk about it. But anyway,
I
so
think it's in biology,
yeah, in biology.
in biology class.
So
Yeah, but
think
my
about.
major is physics and chemistry.
Okay, so you need to give examples on whatever job you're interviewing. Okay, so you're interviewing for physics, then think about some physical, you know, physics stuff that you have done. Excuse me. I'm getting a cold again. But in Arkansas, it's been hot and cold here. So when, as a Filipino person, your body gets affected by us getting a cold pretty easily. That's what I do, and I've been here in the U.S. for 38 years, and I still get affected that way. So anyway, so those are the things that you do. Think about the job description, whatever they put in the job description. I would make sure that you remember those, and you kind of your answers your answers need to tailor to those, okay, because those are like a little checklist for them to know, okay, this person have this or whatever. So try to pay attention to the job description. They will have that on the school spring. They have a long list of them, so it's very generalized, but some of the schools actually have like a little extra there. I would pay attention to those. So why do you think that you said been interviewed 4 times and you did not go on to the next stage? Did you reflect and see what you think you have done differently?
Um, well, I think because one school emailed me and I stated there that they need, for example, I applied a physics teaching position,
Mhm.
and then that school replied and told me that I need to complete 24 units of physics. Wherein I am a physical science major, and I do not have a 24 units total of physics because it's a mixture of physics and chemistry.
Mm.
So
So,
I think that's the reason. So I applied for a physical science teaching position na talaga. I mean, physical science position already, and I still did not get any invites yet.
well, I have you looked into the praxis of these tests? There's a praxis test that you could take, and if you go to ETS, www.ets.org, and then on the search button you put praxis, and then you look under science and see what praxis you're supposed to take. And if you pass one of those for your area that you want to teach, that usually covers that part about extra requirements they have, because the praxis test would be a huge thing that you could take. It might cost you $100 or $200 some, but it is worth it because in any state that you go to, you are going to be taking the praxis test. Okay. But I don't know. No, have you had done your FCE, your foreign credential evaluation?
Yes, ma'am. I've
Did
done
did
it
the
already,
FCE
ma'am.
not show that number of hours that they wanted?
It shows there, ma'am, but I think the physics, any subject related to physics, it's lacking. It's not 24 units, so I guess that's the problem.
What do you have? How many units do you have?
I think uh 19,
So you're talking only
19.
five, like two classes. Is that is that
Yes.
is that possible for you to get that?
Well, others would suggest that I would take pastoral. I still do not have that. I have a masteral, but in public administration, not in science.
But 19 hours and then 24 hours, that's kind of picking. That's kind of picky, I think. So that's a lot. I think most of the classes, I mean, most of the courses, they don't really want that many. So I think that school may just be looking for an excuse not to hire you because they have other reasons. So I would not worry
I
about that.
think so.
Yeah, I would look for a school that would actually be interested because obviously if they're not interested, they're going to look for another reason. Okay, so don't be discouraged because you'll do that. You'll be able to get there. In the meantime, if you wanna watch some of the videos that I have on YouTube, I don't know if you've subscribed, but there is an interview called Josephine video, and there are two videos, and this is me and Maria and I. That's my first teacher that I brought up, Maria. Is that from your background again? Anyway, so we interviewed Josephine, and Josephine answered some questions, and Maria and I both had asked, had kind of more added some things to it, like you might want to include this, you might want to do this, and all that. She did such an amazing job. That's why I asked her to kind of be a sample for me. I asked her permission. Can I use you as an example for an interview? So those might be things that you want to look at because a lot of times the interview when we've interviewed when I was administrator, I always look for answers that were specific, like not generic. So how you do that is to say, in my classroom, this is what I did. So always take it back to your classroom and give example. Okay, but because if you don't do that, then anybody could just say that answer and that still be okay. So it needs to be a Mary Rose answer. Okay. So that's by using examples. Okay, that happens. Even if it did not happen in the classroom, you can just say, well, this is how I would have taught this, or whatever. And these are the things that I would include. These are the hands-on things that I would include. So I think for science, always go to hands-on things, hands-on demonstration or
Yes.
technology. Yeah. So I think you got this, girl. It seems like you're very fluent. That's not going to be an issue for you. So
Thank you.
yeah, hang on there. How many years of experience you have?
13 years, ma'am.
Yeah, that's plenty. Yeah, that's plenty. Usually they only required 2 years. So the requirement for J1 visa is they have to be you have to have 2 years of experience in the field where you have your credential in. So if you're a science major, you need to or elementary, you need to have elementary experience. If you're high school, you need to have high school experience. That means an alignment, okay? And then so you have to be teaching that year. If you are not teaching, they're not gonna hire you at all. Okay, so your steps would be if you have your FCE, that's good because then you know what you have. And then so if you send me your resume and cover letter, once I've given you correction, you edit it and give it back to me. And that would be ready then for you to send it to the schools in Cool Spring. Plus, you will be added to my list that I send to schools and districts. Okay, I have brought in more than 100 teachers already here, and that's the process that we did. I don't charge anything for that, but the the visa sponsors, they may charge, some of them don't, but a lot of times you have to come up with money. I want to say $3,000 to $4,000 possibly if you are paying for it. But if the school pays for it, you may just either not be out anything or maybe be out. Some of them might not pay for the, like the fare. So you may have to pay $1,000 or 1,500, but be ready for that. But still, you will get that paid off by the first or second month that you have it be in the US. You can pay that off. So it is worth it, but just kind of be aware not to get a third party agency that will just want money from you. They would want 5 or 6,000, 7,000 from you, and they don't really do anything because on top of that, you still need to have the visa sponsor that's vetted by the United States. So that's under, if you Google visa sponsor, US, and then you put visa sponsor in quotation. And then when all of these results come in, you see the word bridge on it. But the one that says bridge, that's the one that would have the list. Okay. And then there's a lot of jobs in there from au pair to professor to whatever. Look down and in a menu for teacher. So once you get to the teacher and then it pops up, there's 3 or 4 pages of all about teachers. And some of them would say things like Florida Department of Education. If it's specific to a state, that's usually just for that state. But if it's any other names, but it doesn't say Department of Education, they can sponsor anyone from any state. Even though their office may be in Texas, they can still, sponsor somebody
Sponsor.
in other places, just as long as they don't have the word Department of Education in it, because Department of Education is only specific for that state. Because I work for the Department of
Mhm.
Education. I work for the Department of Education. But anyway, and also colleges will also sponsor their own students. So avoid those two because those are the ones program specific for the students. Okay. So yeah, yeah. So I hope that you don't get discouraged and that you continue and you feel free to email me anytime. Okay. So McCullough Merlina,
Yes.
and I do hope that you'll send me your cover letter and your resume. Okay.
Actually, I already sent to you my cover letter and you already corrected it.
You did, but you need to send me both though, not just the cover letter.
And
Okay.
the rest. Uh, I have a question, ma'am, again. About the resume. Do you recommend to put a picture or not?
I recommend it. And in the US, I'm a professor at a university. We tell them not to, but for international teachers, it helps because they know what you look like, and a
Ah,
picture speaks 1,000 words, or more. So they want to know, especially if they've never hired anybody, you don't know what we look like. So they want to see you smiling. They're like, oh, okay, so she's okay. She's going to be a good fit for our school. And so to me, it seems to be, and this is what my observation from, this is my 5th year of helping teachers. And the ones that have pictures in it get more interviews, and the others don't, because that could be anybody. You don't have a picture. So it's nice to have your picture. It's more personalized to me. But in the US, we tell them not to. We tell them to be, just because for the international teachers, it's different. That you're really from another country and we all look differently and so on. So it's nice to have that, like that one thing out of the way already. What does she look like? you know. And so when you send it to me, and a bunch of these teachers have actually sent me like a 2-minute video of themselves. And see, what I do is I put I have a database and I put the name, the number of experience, your degrees, and so on. And so it will just be in columns like this. And one column has your email and your phone number there, and then also the link to your video. So they will click on that link and then they will see the introduction of that teacher. And so it seems like superintendents and principals like that a lot because they will want to see how fluent you are. If they see that you're fluent, that kids are not going to have problems understanding you, that's going to be one step to like, okay, let's interview this lady or man, because that's one that's fluency is out of there. That's the first thing they worry about, is that somebody would be teaching their students and the students do not understand them, and then they'll go home and say, well, I did bad in science because my teacher that does not speak English very well and I could not understand her, and the students would use that. So you want to be fluent, and you are fluent, Mary Rose, so that should not be an issue at all. Okay. All right. So any other question that you have?
yes.
I hope that my answers will help you.
So part nine.
Yeah. Well, continue to attend or watch the video.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you already getting the invitation, right? You got my Zoom invitation that reminding you that our Zoom is
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
Okay, good. Because those same folks that I send the invitation will get the recorded video of this one. So you'll see yourself on this one. So then I will post this in YouTube and Facebook. So I hope that everyone understands that if you are here, you're giving me permission to post it, but because if you don't, you need to tell me. Okay. But yeah, I would recommend you to do this. Okay. Watch the videos of the interview, watch other videos that you might be interested, and then please know the five core propositions, and then make that a checklist in your mind whenever you're being interviewed. Think about, like, if they ask you something, think about, okay, knowledge of students, I need to say something about students. Knowledge of content, I need to say something about strategies. And then how do I know? How do I assess? And then your reflection and the collaboration is usually how you involve others, parents and other stakeholders. Okay. So if you have that in your answer will be really good. Okay. So that's one
Yes.
thing that I think a bunch of the feedback from the teachers that are already here are saying to me that I said, thank you so much for those five core propositions, because that really made my answers way better than it was. Okay. So more power to you, Mary Rose, and I hope you do get
Thank
it.
you so much, Mom.
Yeah, and when you do come here, you need to make sure you come back and tell us, like Hannah did with her experiences in Ohio.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay.
Manifesting.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. All
Thank you
right.
again, Mom.
No problem. It's nice to hear somebody from science, because we always talk about, to folks in literacy or English. Yeah. All right. So I will ask Giselle to call somebody else.
I think Ma'am Vivian Thompson is also nearby.
Vivian, okay. Go ahead. Where is she?
I think
Vivian.
James
Yeah,
Herrera.
Vivian's mic is open. Vivian, do you want to talk to us? Oh, there she is. She's unmuted. Vivian, you want to talk to us?
Okay.
She called you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. If you
Good
turn on your
evening.
camera, that would be nice. Can you turn it on? For the rest of you guys, if you are not ready to be camera ready, I want you to please get yourself camera ready. It's pretty easy. I'm wearing shorts under here. So you just put the top on. And for ladies, if you can just comb your hair and put lipstick on or whatever, and have I would recommend have a top that's solid, not busy. And then your background, not very busy. So something solid too. Those are some things that I would recommend you. And if you don't want, you can also change your virtual background to blur so that you can see the background. But I would want you to be recorded. You know why? Because if I recommend you to someone, I would need to have a recording of what video you were in. So if you're 93 and I'm only talking to you, I don't see a picture of you, then if I recommend that video number to the administrator, they're not going to be able to see you. They'll just see a still picture of you, and that is going to be a disadvantage for you. So that's why I want you to be camera ready, because this is almost like a little interview with me, except it's guided, because I'm able to give you some hints on how to improve it and so on. So if you're not turning your camera on, then that's one little thing that could have made you being hired. The administrator would say, well, I wish that I get to see what this picture, what this person look. There you go. There you are. See, that's much more beautiful than a still picture. Oh, I love the background. Look at somebody has a collection of mugs. All right. See, that would be something that whenever you are like this, beautiful, beautiful smile like that. Vivian, tell us about yourself. It's going to be the first question at every interview is about tell me about yourself, or somebody would say, tell us about your professional journey, you know. So go ahead. You always put your name. You all need to put your professional information, not your personal. Don't tell them your height, your size, your weight. Don't tell them your parents' names or anything like that. Your religion. Don't do that. Or if you're married and have kids, nope. They just want your degree, how many years of experience, what are you teaching, what grades, and then maybe the reason why you want to come to the U.S. would be a good way to end it. Okay, go. Uh-oh, you're muted, are you? Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Again, good morning, Dr. Merlina, and
Morning.
good evening here in the Philippines. Thank you for allowing me to speak, though I'm quite nervous. It is my first time to speak in somehow,
Virtually?
and yeah, I not virtually, but I guess more expert in English and dialogue.
Hey, Bisaya ra ko. Taga Cebu ra ko kabaw man gihapon kong Bisaya. Don't worry.
Mhm.
But I
I've
want
been watching
English.
you.
I
I've
want
been watching
English
you for
huh?
3 months.
Oh, you
I've
have.
been watching you for 3 months already.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Mm.
Vivian, but you've not talked because I don't remember seeing you before. So,
Yes.
yeah. Um,
I'm the one who messaged you that I'm attended for 3 times.
yeah, I
But
was
I,
trying to
I
see your
didn't
last name.
yes, I didn't make it to
Oh,
spoke with you for two
okay.
two consecutive
Times.
meetings
Got
because
it.
I fell asleep.
So sorry. We were that boring to you, huh? No, I think
No
we
man.
started too late. Yeah, I think we were because we were starting at 9 and then went later. So I understand why. This is now earlier, right? It's a little earlier right
Yeah.
now. Yeah. So Vivian, tell us tell us something about you that you want us to know. Like, I guess I want to know what grade you are teaching and what degree because I want to see if there's an alignment.
Yes. Good morning again, Dr. Merlina. I'm Vivian Sikamson. I was raised and of course I live here in the Philippines. And I'm excited to apply in the teaching position in the US. Though it's I think of this many times, many years ago, but then again, this is the time when I urge to pursue my dreams, American dreams. I'm applying for elementary teaching position with over 15 years of teaching elementary, uh, 13 years in a public school, and 2 years in a private school. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education from the National Teachers College, Manila, Philippines. And then I pursued my Master of Arts in Education, major in Education and Management at Laguna State Polytechnic University, and I graduated last June 13, 2018. But then again, finally, I took my Doctor of Education, major also in Educational Management at the same school at the Laguna State Polytechnic University and graduated last July 17, 2023. And
Congratulations. Good job.
throughout the years of my teaching experience, I recognize the SLE, which stands for social and emotional learning, and I incorporate it through my teaching experience or teaching my students, and to develop the self-awareness and emotional regulations, interpersonal and empathy. So I must say that I'm a teacher who teach with the heart. And that's
That's it.
I'm quite nervous, ma'am.
No. You should just be relaxing. Like whenever you do an interview, you're just looking at me and you're just visiting with me. We're just talking like like we did earlier.
Yes.
Because that's much more relaxing for you and you should not be nervous. You're just gonna talk to me and like we would talk to a friend, and that's what you should be, because when you are in an interview like that, you have a successful interview. Because if there's any awkwardness or you keep saying, oh, I am really nervous, that's gonna make you more nervous, because you're like telling yourself like, oh, be nervous. So I would rather have you relax and just like, okay, I'm just talking to this person. She's just like me, an educator, and she is out here to support me. She's not out here to get me. And just like in any administrators that would interview you, they're there for you. They're rooting for you. They want you to do well. Just like I'm rooting for you, I want you to do well. Okay? So that's kind of how the mindset that you need to have, because that way you won't be nervous. Because my gosh, you congratulations to you. You have all this education, doctorate degree. And I have been through that, so I know how hard it is. Nobody just handed you that. So you have to have worked so hard and you deserve it and you have earned it. So I would want you to act like, yes, I'm worth this and I can do this and all that. So because you are very fluent and that's gonna go take you a long, long way. And so you should have the confidence. You should not be, even if you're worried or if you're nervous, don't say it. Just because you don't want yourself to be more nervous, okay? And here, I guess in America, we call them SEL, social emotional learning. And in the Philippines, they call them SLE, because here it's gonna, if you refer to it, you need to say SEL. It's social emotional learning.
Social
Yeah.
emotional learning.
Yeah, if they switch it there, it's okay. And you can say things like, in the Philippines, we say SLE, social learning and what's it? Social.
Social emotional learning.
Oh, so it's SEL. You were the one that said SLE. Okay, got it. So, because if it's different, and I love that you say what it means. So, if any time that you use any acronym, it's going to be different in the Philippines and here. Always define what it is, just like you did that then. Okay? Because you would say things like, oh, DepEd. They don't know what DepEd is, by the way.
Yeah.
Because here they say Department of Education, and you don't work for DepEd, you work for a public school. Because here in America, when we say we work at a Department of Education, like I really work at the Department of Education, you are physically in the office of the Department of Education and you're working for them. So that's not the case. So you need to say, I work at a public school, I work at a private school. Do not say you work for DepEd, because in our minds here in the
Yes.
US, we're gonna say that, oh, she has an office there in the downtown or somewhere, and you work for the Department of Education. Because when I worked there, we developed training. I was at the PD unit, the professional development unit, and we actually developed training for the whole state. So sometimes we would be televised and we would do the training online. But a lot of times we would go physically to the co-op. There's 15 co-ops, for example, in Arkansas, and we would actually train the trainers. And then the trainers, once they train the teachers. So we are the state level. So if you say DepEd, that's what the understanding of DepEd is. So just be sure that you all understand that you say you work at the public school. Okay? Yeah. And so but gosh, your pronunciation is like a native. So no problem at all. So what did you say that your doctorate is in what area? Mine was in educational leadership. What is yours on?
Mine is educational management.
Same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. You just call it leadership here, but yeah. So when you say that, you say, yeah, my doctorate is in educational management, which is called educational leadership in the US. It's the same. Yeah.
Supervision, management and supervision in the other.
Yeah.
From the other.
Yeah.
Yes.
They use that here,
And
educational leadership, all that. Yeah. So anyway,
Dr. Merlina, I'm a dedicated and certified teacher for over 15 years of experience. Let's go back to my teaching experience, Doc. And along with my national board certification for teachers, which is the LEP, I board passer of LEP, licensure examination for teacher. My teaching journey began after my graduation, where I volunteer as a kindergarten teacher in a one small school in urban school in my province, and I handled the kindergarten, teaching all subjects. Then I was hired by my principal, who happened to be my professor in college at the Paco Catholic School, wherein I handled a preschool, or should I say preparatory. For 2 years, I taught them for 2 years. And then from a private school, I keep on seeking and improve myself to broaden my horizons. I here in the Philippines, when you are teaching in the public school, it just I think it is there will be a security of tenured, they say. So I want to grow professionally, and then I transfer in a public school, and I taught first grade for 6 years, and I'm the one who is uh, a reader teacher that back then. I taught all subjects, and afterwards, there is a program wherein a localization program from the DepEd, wherein the teacher will transfer to a nearby school where they are living or located. So I transfer in a central school here in my province in Laguna,
Okay.
and
So
from
when you
2018.
uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. Go ahead and finish your sentence. I want to say something
I
first.
taught a subject of self-contained from for 6 years for the first and second grade. Then I currently employed at the central school here in Laguna, wherein I teach fourth grades, uh, fourth grade, and I handle SPE, it stands for Enhanced Science Program for in elementary,
Okay.
and then I just handle English, social studies, and science.
Okay. So
And aside from
instead of
yes, ma'am.
saying those sentences to say your experience, you need to say, I have taught from preschool all the way to fourth grade, all subjects. That's all you say.
Thank
Okay,
you.
instead of
Thank you,
doing a
ma'am.
few minutes of that, because they're going to give you 1 or 2 minutes to do it, and because they have other candidates that they're going to interview. And so I would recommend you saying that, kind of summarize it. Okay, just say, I have taught
Yes,
from this
ma'am.
grade to this grade for so many years. That's what you need to say. You don't have to tell them exactly from this year to this year, because you're going to lose them. Okay. And it's nice that you have that, narrative. It's just that you don't have time. That's the problem. The administrators have very limited time. They might, in most cases, they'll give you 10 minutes possibly to talk to you. So if you spend that 10 minutes to talking about your experience, then they won't get in the questions. Okay? So I want you to do 2 sentences of your experience. I've taught from this grade to this grade in these subjects for so many years.
Thank
That's
you.
it. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And then you just say things about like what you learned because of that, because of my varied great experiences in teaching different grades. I learned that, every grade I will have to, to differentiate and make sure that, whatever you tell them, something like that, instead of just saying. Okay, just saying a more of a, I guess it's a narrative versus analytical statement. So you're just saying a narrative, you're just saying a facts, but then when you start saying the why and the how, that's much more powerful. Okay. So you
Yes,
said, well,
ma'am.
how
Yes,
I
ma'am.
learned from that is, why did I do that is this. So yeah, how and why would make it deeper. Okay.
No
Because
problem.
yeah, it's a good experience to have the the language, I guess. But in order to get more of you, more of Vivian in, you need to make sure that you just kind of be picky about what do I need to include. Okay.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
would want you to include, like, these are my teaching philosophies. I believe in children, all children can learn, but they might learn at different paces. That's why I believe that it's important that I differentiate, that I would know my children's multiple intelligences. For example, when I did a unit on this, I made sure that I had students, showing their talent by, the verbal intelligent kids may have done the presentation, while my artistic, students were doing the drawing and all that. So they were doing, showing off their
That's
talent.
right.
Yeah,
Lecture.
but then they're still learning the same thing, except they're showing it a different way. My musically intelligent kids were rapping about the topic. We're making poetry. We're making, songs. So the bodily kinesthetic kids, they were dancing. they're performing and show, so you can kind of showcase that you are a teacher that values teaching the whole child. Okay. So don't you think that
Yes,
was
ma'am.
much better information than saying the number of years, right? So because
Yes,
it now
ma'am.
tells you more about you as a teacher, right? And don't worry because I've done exactly the same thing. This is from 30 plus years of experience. You go into deeper. So when you say that you got your national board certification, you will not, that's different to here. Okay, national board certification is something that you actually pass above the teacher board. Like we have the board for teachers here, we have that, like
Yep.
that, yeah, the exam that we take in order to become a teacher. That is not national board here. National board is above and beyond that. Only 10% of the, for example, in Arkansas, there's 30,000 teachers. Only 3,000, only 10% are national board. I'm a national board certified teacher. So I went above, my
Well,
sister and I both. So we went above and beyond and actually did, like, showed our video and analysis of our videos and showed sample of our students, and we sent it to a national, organization, and then they graded us and say, hey, you are now national board or whatever. And then the schools paid us extra. Like now in a poverty school, if you're a national board, you get $10,000 more a year. So you get like $500,000 a year, for 10 years or for 5 years. At that time, we were only getting half that, and then for 10 years. And then we renewed it. I did 2001 to 2011, and then 2011 to 2021. So I got it for 20 years. But that was 5,000. So it's $100,000, which is about, what would that be, like 5 million pesos extra for getting national board certification. So yeah, that's totally meaning differently here. And to have national board here, I would, like, 50 states in the US, I think 38 of them will honor it as, like, that's the, you are HQT, that means high quality teaching. It's HQT, that means you already passed the HQT test, that you can already teach at their
high
school, at their
quality
state.
teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, if you already can teach in their state without any extra test because you have passed national board. So that's how, yeah, it's a big deal because
Yeah.
I think there are only 25% of those that applied will pass it the first year. Most of them will pass it in 3 years. My sister and I got blessed that we passed in the first year, but we felt like when we help others, we actually learn more. Like we did not learn as much because we kind of got lucky and blessed that we passed it the first year. But when you help someone, then you really get to know that, oh, these are some things I need to know, not just the facts, but really to analyze. That's what I'm talking to you about, being an analytical learner. You analyze, why did it work? What did I do in my classroom that made the students learn? And so why should I do this? So the how and the why question, I used to say on my trainings, I still do training for folks that do national board. I would say, I want you to think of two mosquitoes, the two mosquitoes that we always, like, that bothers us, and we need to spank it. How, why, you need to have these two how and why going all the time, because then those are things that you have to take care of. Here's mosquito flying. Let me take care of it. How, why, instead of the what. So it's better to have the how and the why. But you're gonna be amazing. Oh my gosh, you're gonna have a very good interview. And so have you been interviewed before? Have you experienced being interviewed
Yes,
before?
ma'am. I got an interview from New York.
New York?
My
When?
first last February 18.
Okay. How did it go?
But I didn't ace it.
Oh, what's the question that got you? What did you feel
Uh,
that got you?
Same as you, introduce yourself. What are your teaching philosophy? And she asked me about how did you about a lesson planning and its strength and weaknesses.
Okay, so how did you answer the lesson planning?
I just detailed the lesson, the procedure of a
What
lesson
what procedures
and
did
give
you mention?
example.
Yeah, what
I
procedure?
I, I told the objectives, the materials, by basic example. of a lesson.
Oh, okay. What kind of lesson did you use as an example?
Because I'm teaching science, it's about science.
So did you
I
include hands-on? Were they doing experiments?
Yes, they all differentiated instruction, and there is an station and then experiment that we have regularly done in the classroom. Just like, for example, mm, forget it.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I didn't want to put you in a spot, but once you do
Yes,
that, you need to make sure that you must have done a lot of narrative again. You did not do the
yes,
how and the why. So when you say that, okay, for example, I started with my bell ringer. I started with my opening, my engagement part where I showed my students 2 3 minute video of this topic in order to open their minds ready for the topic. This is important because, and you say that, and then you go on to the next one. Then I also use experimentation because I believe in the importance of scientific process. I taught science before. They believe in this scientific process, and the students need to know, to know that what we learn in science is something that would help them in their lives. Science is about, science is about learning about life. It's about, so for example, the topic is, what was the topic again that you experiment on? What's the topic that you use as an example? Do you remember? What topic was it? What were you experimenting on?
types of soil, types of soil.
Okay, types of soil. So for example, the types of soil since we were doing types of soil, before that, I had my students bring the different type of soil, maybe in a little jar from their homes. And then, we were able, so you kind of showed them how you brought life, we brought the outside life in, and do that. And so you show them technology use, you show them how they bring in things from real life to bring it in. And then they start doing the experiment. And, some people would even do like, a little mini project where they would do layers of the earth or whatever, in different flavors of chocolate or whatever, they use those as an ending, as an enrichment. And anyway, so then you describe it, and every time you describe something, always say how and why. Always before you move on, because otherwise, if you just say these are the objectives, these are the materials, these are the procedures, that doesn't tell me anything about your thinking. Okay. But if you tell me a thing and then explain it, then that tells me more about Vivian. Tells me more about your thinking as a teacher. That's what I want to know. Because I know you know the materials, I know you know the procedures, but I want to know why. I want to know why you chose these things. Out of all the things that you could have chosen, why did you choose this? It's because I believe that this would really make my students understand that, whatever. And then I want my students to relate this to this, and so bring in what other information you want to bring in from the community or whatever. And then like for example, my example would be like when we did our electricity unit every year. The electricity unit starts differently because it depends on how my students, what the questions were my students. One year, and the year that I did national board, this was perfect. My students were out there looking outside. It was raining, and the kids were saying, "Oh, look at all those birds in the electric wires. How come they're not electrocuted? They are on the wire." And so then it made me think, oh, this will be a good question to start off with my kids. So because they were wondering why are birds not electrocuted? And so that's the more of a starting point for me. We're like, okay, so my kids do not know anything about, why that did not work or whatever. So I brought in, my husband is an electrical engineer. So he came in and introduced some things, whatever. And I brought in the electric company person and explained about, how electricity and all this, safety and all that. So I brought in all these speakers to go in and kind of lay the foundation for them. And then later on, my husband came back and actually did some experiment with the circuit breakers. And, so he actually brought in some things that my kids could do hands-on things with. But anyway, I brought in speakers, and that's where my collaboration piece was in like. And then I would say things like, well, this is important to know because when the students are, oh, it's important to use because when the students are the ones being curious about the question, they're going to be paying attention more because they want to know the answer for real. So at the end of the unit, the end of our study, my students learned why the birds are not electrocuted, and all that. So you can kind of, it's like a story, but then there's an ending in the cause and effect thing, but then there's the process there, but you have to put in the Vivian in it. Okay, you have to put in your thinking of the decision making you made. That way, your answer is going to be different than a Mary Rose answer, than a Giselle answer. It's going to be different, or Mario, or John. I always try to say that I did not just use women as examples. I also use males. But anyway, but yeah. So how can you do this next time when you have an interview? How will you do it differently? I mean, I said too many things, but there might be too much chunks of information. But I want you to tell me one or two things that you picked up from what I just explained.
Uh, Next time I given a chance to offer that interview, I will omit all the sentences that I'm trying to give justifications about myself, and I'm going to practice it
Yeah,
in
practicing is good.
advance.
Yeah, practicing in advance is good. Write your script, okay? And first, I want you to
So,
practice it in front of a mirror. Okay, once you get
yes,
good at
ma'am.
it and you memorize it and you really like looking like you're just talking, like talking to me right now, you're doing awesome. And then once you feel like, oh, I can practice with someone, then find a family member that's going to be very positive and not be negative to you. And be listening, your husband usually, be listening, or your kid, listening to you, and give me a honest comment. What could I have done differently? Sometimes you may have used same words over and over again because you're nervous,
Yes,
or maybe you did not use a different example. Use an example. You just went on and a what instead of know how and whys. So you might want to ask
yes,
them that while you
like
listen.
what you told,
Yeah, yeah. While
just
you
like
listen.
what you say.
Yeah,
Um, Gives a cite example and real life that happening in the classroom, the real life.
right, right.
Maybe that is my
Yeah, I bet that will take you to the next level, right? Because you
yes,
are,
ma'am.
yeah, it should take you to the next level because it's going to show me as an administrator, because I've been on this side. It's going to take me to see you as a good fit as a science teacher. Because in my mind, I would want a teacher that's hands-on, and I want a teacher that would make really a decision that is differentiated for the students that she has. You do not make a lesson plan good for 30 years, because that lesson plan need to be tweaked every year. Excuse me.
Yes,
Depending on the students. Your students that year may be interested in something else. So that year your students are interested in things outside. Your naturalistic students, they want to, so I might work with rocks and other things that we want to do. We're painting those rocks. We're doing all these new things about rocks. I'm excited about rocks because I know my students and what they like and what what I need to use in order for the lesson to stick, right? And you know that I'm pitching to the choir. I know you know this, but anyway, but it's not just talking to you, Vivian. It's also talking to everybody else, to this panel here, plus also the ones who are going to be watching the video, right? Yeah. So I just gave you a little national board lesson. Because that's actually how
I know.
yeah, that's actually how we tell national board candidates.
Yeah,
Maria was the very first, I was mentioned Maria. Maria is the very first teacher I brought here. And I'm very proud of her. She's actually going through getting a national board.
wow,
She's here. Yeah, she's getting it. And so she was asking me, can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, we can help. We can help. It's just that the analysis part of it, it has to be you. But I could comment on, like, well, why did you do this? Or how did you know? I would comment, I could make feedback, but the answers had to be hers. But people can actually comment and look at it. But because I've done this for so many years, 2001 was when we first done this process. So I kind of have this 24 years of, experience of this, because I have also done my own support group where I actually wrote grant and have people come in, and as many as 40 some people coming in. And I said, this is too big. So I split them into two. And so I would meet them every other week. So I had meetings every week. And I wrote grant in order to feed them supper, and then paid for their car, but pay for their gas so they can come to the meeting place. And I wrote the grant, so it's free. I didn't have to come up with money for that. Yeah. So you get creative. Here in America, there's so many different sources. You just have to be creative to say, okay, what
yes,
can I do to help them? And yeah, I have, for example, in chess, I'm a chess coach. And so I went and wrote a letter using the letterhead of the school. I asked permission from the principal, and I had them to read it. So, hey, I'm asking an ask letter. I said, what for? And I said, well, I want the community to be involved by having them sponsor our chess club. Okay, what do you need? And I said, well, we need T-shirts. So the T-shirt kids will design their own T-shirts, and then we need money to buy the giant set, the tournament set that's really giant that you can roll you can roll it and then have a carrying case and have a bag for each the big giant pieces. I want those. And they're not cheap. They're like $30 a piece. And so I wrote a letter and have it approved. And so I went to the bank. They gave us $250. Another bank gave me another one and all this. And then I bought the materials. We even brought the chess timer. And then on the extra money, we also spent it on like the student snacks. Every practice we had snacks and then pizza or whatever. And then for we also budgeted for like when we went to tournament and we had to pay for the gas to go to the tournament and so on. So you can involve the community. Anything that you do and that involve the community, mention it on your answer. Okay, but that's the collaboration piece. Okay, and so that's anything that I do. I always look for ways to involve the community, and if there is a way to like call the newspaper office and cover it, where they would actually cover it and show it, do that. That way you have to show artifacts that you did this. So you have the article of the paper, you cut it up, and here's your picture in it with kids, and you did what you said you did, and boom, that's part of your artifact evidence. So anyway, yeah. So when you talk about it, your evidence would be what you did as an example in your classroom, okay? So yeah. So yeah, that's it. I talked too much, sorry. But hopefully whatever I said, because I know chunks of information, only 4 to 5 will stick in our mind. So that's why I want you to kind of pick up one or two that you may have picked up, amongst all the things that I said. Okay, but you are such a great listener, so thank you so much. And I know that if you go to www.schoolspring.com, and the next interview, I hope you ace it, and you let me know. Okay, yeah, because I feel strongly that you're gonna be here soon, because that's all you need. It's a little tweak that you need. It's just to make it yours. Okay, and that's the same with everybody else. When you get an opportunity to get interviewed, you've already jumped a big hoop there, because once we get all this application, we have a yes, no, maybe. Okay, the yes for interview. We're gonna interview this. No, this is not good for interview because either no references, so we can't contact anybody, or their resume just didn't look like they did anything. There's no award, there's no organizations, there's no something PD, possibly 2 or 3 PDs that they have done that influence them as a teacher, not just a list of a bunch of PDs you've done. Your resume need to be meaty, that looks like you. So then that would maybe yeah, that might be going to a yes. And then whenever you get the survey coming from your references, then some of the maybes could go into the yes, we'll interview this person. Okay, but so if you already have been interviewed, that means you already made it to the yes file. Okay, so you already have a step above the others. So now you just have to again jump another hoop in order to get hired over the other people, because a lot of times it's going to be very easy to have between 5 to 8 people that we interview for one position. Okay, so you have to beat the other 7 people. Okay, in order to do that, you have to put a Vivian in it by differentiating and making it your example. Okay, any other question that you have? You're gonna watch this video, right? You're gonna see yourself in this video. Because have you been getting the recording of the videos? Are you part of that distribution list? You've been getting a copy of the videos, right? That I sent everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
got one.
you get one. Okay. Yeah. And also I'll post it. If you're already a member, are you already a member of ITSAP, Facebook, and YouTube? Are you already in there? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
ma'am.
gonna be in both places. So yeah. So any parting comments, any final comments that you have before I go on to the next person? And I want to thank you again for coming on.
Thank you, Dr. Merlina. I promise to improve myself. in
Yeah,
speaking and communicating it well,
oh,
myself well.
yeah, you do
So
good.
the next time I get an interview, I will ace it. And thank you for all the videos that I watch
Yeah,
in the
no,
YouTube.
you're
And
welcome.
thank you for meeting you
Yeah.
through this Zoom.
Yeah, nice. Hey, Vivian, you want me to call you Dr. Vivian? So don't call me Dr.
No,
Merlina. Just
ma'am,
say
no,
Merlina.
ma'am.
Just say
I'm
Merlina.
just a humble person.
Me too.
No,
I try
ma'am.
to be. I always say that my leadership style
Just
I try
Vivian
to
will
is
do.
like, well, yeah, just Vivian or Merlina would do. But it's Jesus's servant leadership style. That's what I want. So it's not Dr. Jesus. It's not going to be Dr. Merlina unless I'm on a
Mhm.
stage or something, and I would use that because of the credential thing. But a lot of times I'm just Merlina. In fact, most of the teachers here would call my nickname is Ellen. So like Maria would call me Mom Ellen, or yeah, Dr. Merlina is doc is so it's Merlina is fine. Miss Merlina is a lot of them would say that too. But the one that called me Dr. McCullough, they're total strangers to me. They just don't know me. So if you want to be like closer to me, you're gonna call me Miss Merlina or Miss Ellen or Mom Ellen. But yeah, that's what I tell everybody. So I think some of them would still call me Doc once in a while, and they catch themselves like, "Oh, Miss Merlina, you," because I would joke with them. I'm like, "Oh, so you're still stranger to me, huh?" Yeah, so that's kind of what we joke around
My
here.
student called me Ma'am Bieb, and that is the sweetest I've heard every day
Yeah,
when
that's
they call me Ma'am Bieb.
yeah. So you
I'm
have a
sorry for
choice.
Vivian.
Yeah, when you come to the US, there are going to be some schools that are more formal than others. Like some schools would say
Mm.
everybody has to be called with their last name. Some schools are like that, and it's
Ah,
usually because of the leader is like a Hitler. They want they want everybody to do the same. But
mhm.
a lot of times you're just free to whatever you want to be called. In the first week or first day, I always said, yeah, I would want you to call me Miss Merlina or Miss McCullough, or depending. So here with a doctor now, and said, okay, I'm Dr. M because they could never say the McCullough. So I'm Dr. M. When I go to speak in a classroom, I just refer to myself as Dr. M because they could not say McCullough at all, especially the elementary kids. But yes, Dr. M, so that's me. Yeah. So Dr. V.
Thank you for
Okay.
no.
All right. All
It's
right.
thank
Okay.
you for being kind to
Thank you.
Filipinos
You're welcome.
aspirant to in the US.
You're welcome. You'll be here soon.
Aspiring to.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
You get here soon.
Thank you. Po.
All right. Okay.
God
Thanks.
bless.
Help you too. Hi, Giselle, you want to call somebody else? It was
Back
nice
the
talking to Vivian.
teacher here. The Amamina and Sir Joel is here and Sir Ewan also.
Who is
Maybe
it?
you want to talk. Mami and Nada.
Myrna.
Thank you.
Yay. Hey, Myrna, my girl.
Hi,
Myrna.
ma'am.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Did you see it? Were you here when Mike was calling? Where are you? Do you not show your face today? I want to
No,
see your
ma'am,
face.
I'm here. I'm here. I have my camera on.
Yeah, but it's off. I mean, we don't see
Oh,
it.
is it?
Yeah,
It's on. I have my camera on, doc.
but nothing is shown on Giselle. Am I right? I don't see her. Do you?
Yes, sir. We don't see you, ma'am.
You can see her?
No, Doc, I cannot see her.
Yeah, we cannot see you at all.
Oh, you can see us. Oh,
No,
how but anyway, yeah,
we can
doc,
hear you.
it's on. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Yes, it's on. The camera is on. But anyway, we are on our way to Memphis
Oh, you are.
with the family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not traveling far, so Joel and I just decided to go, just nearby area. So later on, or maybe the other next day, we will go to Hot Spring. Is it
Okay.
Hot Spring? Yes,
Sounds
doc.
good. Are you coming my
Yes.
way?
Yes.
Are you coming
We
my
will
way?
see. We will inform you, sir. We will inform you, ma'am. We will.
Okay.
Ahead of time. We will inform you ahead of time.
Okay. Because Jet might be coming, but it looks like he didn't show up today, so it may be next weekend. But because it's spring break, I prefer you coming during the week, so I know I'm home all week.
Oh, yeah, yes,
So,
okay.
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you let me know so I can cook some stuff. So
Oh,
yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, and I
Yes.
told Mike that I'm gonna be there April 3rd, and that's my last
Yeah.
visit for this school year. So I'm hoping that you and Joel can find a babysitter and come see us at the hotel and have dinner, have
Yes.
a buffet with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We will take advantage of that. We'll take
Okay,
advantage.
sounds good. So plan for April 2nd.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, you look good, Myrna.
Oh,
There you
oh,
are.
you can see me now, Doc. You
I can see you
me now.
finally. What did you do
Okay.
differently? What did you do
Okay.
differently?
I just had my hair curled.
It's nice. Yeah.
I just had it curled. Yes, yes,
Make you
yes.
look younger, girl. Yeah. So I still
Oh,
want to,
yeah. Thank you.
yeah, I
Thank you
still
for
want to,
it.
I want to see your play still. So I don't not know if I can make it this school year, but maybe next school year, even maybe this summer. If
This
I,
summer, Doc.
yeah,
Yes,
this summer
yes,
might be good.
yes.
Yeah. But you all just come
Uh,
see me then, because a lot of times I'm driving
yeah.
to the hotel. It's 2 hours and a half. So by that time, I don't want
Oh,
to drive anymore, So I would rather have people come and see me rather than
yes.
over. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
By the way, Doc. By the way, Doc, just to share,
Mhm.
Joel and I will already receive our probationary license here in Arkansas,
Yay.
and in the state we included for the both of us we included physics in our license. So I might be taking two proctor's exam, one for middle science high school and one for physics.
Okay, good job. You can handle that, Dr. Myrna.
No, just me and the doc. You just said that.
Dr. Vivian. Anyway, so yeah, Myrna, you'll be able to. I'm proud of both of you. So what will make the probationary become regular license? Standard.
Uh, yeah, it will become a regular license once we take the practice exam. We need to ace the exam. Yes,
Okay.
we need to ace the exams. Yes, doc.
When
And
are you
that's it.
planning to take it? When are you planning to
Uh,
take it?
by next year, I think. Yeah, by next year, doc. By
Okay.
next year.
Okay,
Yes.
sounds good. Sounds like you're doing
So,
awesome.
yes.
So what are your plans for the spring break then? You going to Memphis, what else?
We're going to Memphis just now. We will go to Hot Springs, yes,
Okay.
and then we will go to your place, Doc, because initially my plan is to wait for Jeff and his family because that was the initial plan. But then I just found out that they already had their spring break last week, so it
Hmm.
doesn't match our schedule. So it might just be Joel and I will ask if I do not know who else will join us.
Yeah,
Go to your
just let me
place.
know so I'll make sure that
We
the
will,
drink's ready.
yeah, we will inform you 2 days before.
That sounds good.
We just have to plan our schedule, and ahead of time we will inform you.
Yeah. So we need to do some planning too on what you want to see here. You have not been to the caves. You have got to go to the caves. Everybody
Oh
that's been here,
yeah, wow,
there's a
wow.
beautiful cave here that's worth going. It's only an hour, 15 minutes from me, but
Okay.
worth going. And there's like a little place there to go to a picnic. That's like like a waterfall thing, and it's so beautiful. It's worth it. So we plan ahead and do at least 2 days, because one day to the cave, we can do one day to the caves, and maybe that day you can even do like the same area has horseback riding if you want to do horse.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yes,
So do at least 2 days if you
yes, yes,
prepare it.
yes. We
Yeah.
will prepare for that.
Okay, sounds good. And I'll give you more details later. I'll give you some
Yes,
information. Okay.
yes, no.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Be careful. Have fun.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. Hi,
Okay.
Ma'am Giselle. Hi, Ma'am France. I saw you. I saw your name there.
Hi, yeah, Myrna, there is a casino there in Hot Springs. You have to visit. It's pretty.
Oh, I remembered our meeting moment in casino.
Yeah.
We will try. But by summer, Doc, I do not know because I just sent an email to our school district, to our superintendent, that I might be attending. Miss Girl and I might be attending a 3-day seminar in Hot Spring.
Beautiful there.
Hot Springs,
Yeah,
yes.
you do if you're gonna do more than one day, do a bath. There's a bath row there
Mhm.
where they have Arlington Hotel. You go down there, there's a hot springs thing there that like you take you just it's a healing deal. It's heal your
Oh,
body.
oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
so ask for the full bath experience, and then there's a massage thing, and they give you this, the bath experience with the water, with the hot springs, and then anyways, a bunch of things that they do, and it's worth it because
We
I've
will.
done it. Yeah, I've done it so many times. Yeah, it's a
That's
pampering thing. It's a pampering thing, but it's worth it.
ah,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
you deserve it.
yes.
Yeah,
Thanks for the tip, Doc.
yeah. Okay. All right. Take care. Okay. Well, thank you for speaking. Myrna always does a good job of speaking every time she. Yay. So
Thank you, Doc.
yeah. Who else wants to talk? Well, Verlin is here. Verlin, did you want to talk?
Yes,
Okay,
Doc.
go ahead, Verlin. You're always a regular. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
So what's up with you? What's going on? Do you have spring
Um,
break there in the Philippines? Do you have spring break?
no, we do
You
not
don't?
have.
Oh, you don't. Here we have 1 week, and so with each of the weekends, so they have 9 days off. And so this folks here that are talking in Arkansas, they usually have the same the whole state have the same spring break. And another state might be different. That's why she's talking about somebody else having a different break. It may be from another, I think it's from another state. Some of the schools would say, okay, we'll go ahead and not follow the state and we'll do a week early or a week later. But a lot of times it's gonna be everybody does it the same. So what kind of break do you have then there in the Philippines if you don't have spring break? In the
Christmas break, summer break, and only 1
that's
month, I
that's
think, or two weeks, and we have our vacation.
oh that's all, huh? You don't yeah, you kind of you don't have much off then because here they really need that. They need that in March to have that break because coming from December, I mean, January and then if you go straight to May, that's a long time, right? So yeah, so what's in your mind today, Verlin?
Mine today is currently I am reviewing the interview because on Wednesday I have a principal interview so that I Google the district that I'm going to have an interview
What district is this?
in Arizona.
Arizona. Okay, let's practice. You want me to practice with you?
Oh
I'll
no.
be glad to help you. Huh? Because this will help everybody else. Okay, so the first question is going to be to tell us about yourself. So how would you say that?
Okay, good day. Thank you for allowing me to interview for today. My name is Verlin from the Philippines, and I graduated with a degree of elementary education and currently teaching for 17 years almost. And I handled first to sixth grade, and currently I am handling the first graders, and um, I believe I'm sorry. I'm nervous.
No, no, see, I told you. I told Vivian, don't say nervous. If
Yeah.
you're nervous, don't say it.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Um, I am very visionary to my pupils. I always told them that they can do it. They can do whatever they want, and I support them. I am empathetic because I always put myself into the shoes of my students because I believe that every chair in my classroom has a different story, and that's why I need to understand their situation before I do the lessons. And then I am resourceful in the way that I seek I seek different strategies, or I look for in the internet what is the best for my students in their needs, on where they are, what's their what are their what is the technique or fix to their needs. For example, currently I have a English speaking student where he doesn't understand Tagalog, and it's very challenging to me every day that I need to translate for him because he don't understand it. And that's why I give him a different activity so that he will not left behind to other students. And I am also loving, which I I believe that these students are my sons too, or children too. And then I am youthful because I always seek improvement because I believe that even I am in this industry for a long time. I need to learn every day. That's why I always join or engage myself into different platforms like in British Council. I enjoy uh, looking for the different activities in there or the lessons that can make unnecessary for my teaching. And then also I watch different educators from the US. What are their strategies, especially in classroom management? And last uh, last time I watched the nurtured, what they call nurtured. I know that I list that the nurtured something teaching is it is the way that the first thing in the morning is they they always they always practice what are the rules before they begin, and then always never put too much energy on the student who are not listening or distracting to your class, and then put energy on those who are doing great job in your class, and always make them uh make them on the rules
Follow
or
the
and
rules.
the consequence of their actions inside the
Okay.
classroom.
Okay, stop. I don't know I hope you don't do this particular introduction that way, because it's all about you. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven things about you. I would rather have you focus on teaching, learning, and students, okay? And how you can do that, because all these pieces that you put in are good. They just need to be organized differently. Okay, because you can still show that you are all these adjectives you said, except that you just organize it a different way. For example, if you use the five core prepositions, okay, you talk about, okay, I believe, and you can say the five core national board prepositions. The first one is knowledge of students. This is how I know about my students, and then you say something about being empathetic, because I believe that every child has a different story, different state. You put all those things that you said under a different umbrella, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So all the things that you just said, just kind of package it differently. And it would be, I think it's richer. And it's also easier to remember, because there are only five chunks you have to remember. Knowledge of students, I'm going to talk about how empathetic, how all about kids, how I get to know them, and so on. Okay. And then the next one is knowledge of a content that talk about strategies and all the management. And when you talk about the nurturing, make sure that you know it exactly. Do not say I'm gonna look for it. Make sure you know it already, and then don't say do not focus on these kids, because it sounds like you're a cold teacher. You say I would use positive reinforcement, okay, where I would praise the kids that are doing it right instead of picking on someone that did it wrongly. So I would say things like, "Oh, I'm so proud of Vivian. I'm so proud of Vivian because she's doing exactly what I want her to do. Look at how she's doing this." And the other kids are gonna look and say, "Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing." So that's positive reinforcement. You're actually, focusing on someone that's doing it right, instead of like, "Oh, John, you're gonna do it wrong again." So instead of that, you're saying praising somebody that's doing it right. Okay, so that's under your knowledge of students, and knowledge of content would be the strategies that you're going to do, and all the maybe some hands-on things that you do. I use cooperative learning strategies. I use gallery walk. I believe in having like the four corners a strategy, where they go under the four corners and then they would work as a group, and I could mix it up with gallery walk, where after they get done with their work, they could display it there, and everybody, when I ring the bell, they would go and comment on somebody else's work, and then they move on, and so on. So by the end of the period, they would already have a comment, a feedback from everybody and what they're thinking about theirs. And of course, I taught my students the glow and grow and glow sandwich, so that way they have to be praising them and what to improve, another praise. So that way, that's a good strategy, because they're able to get up out of their seat and is active. Something like that. You can put the strategy on knowledge of content. Okay. So far, what are the two? Knowledge of what? What are the two knowledge?
Of knowledge of student
Students.
content,
Mm-hmm.
and then
No, knowledge of
uh,
students is by itself. Knowledge of students. This is how you know about kids. That's number one. And number two is knowledge of content. That's number two.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So knowledge, yeah. So you have to say things like, I believe that it's knowledge of students is just as important as knowledge of content. It's so important for us to know our students because then, and you said this in somewhere here, because then I could customize my lesson in order to fit my students. And you said that in some of them, except you notice how packaging it differently would be better. It's not just I am this, I am this, I am this. It's better instead of knowledge of content, knowledge of students. And then the third one is assessment. How do you know this? How do you know what your kids know? Okay,
Mhm.
so I believe in the importance of assessment, that an assessment has to be ongoing and it has to be continuous, which means that beginning of the lesson, I might give them a KWL, or I could give them an anticipation chart where I give them 5 questions about the lesson, true or false. And then that way, during the lesson, we would correct that, their misconceptions. That could be how I begin it. And then during the lesson, so I assess before and I assess during. So during the lesson, I would be observing them. Who's got it? Who they pay attention? Who took notes? Like I tell them to take notes, who are taking notes and so on, who are nodding their head and their body language is showing me they're interested and all this. So those are your assessment. Could be informal assessment. And at the very end, then I find out for real, are they getting it? It could be during think, pair, share, think, write, pair, and share, TWPS, where they're writing about what they learned. And then they talk to it with a partner. And then after talking with a partner, they could be talking to the group. And as a group, they could present to the class. This is group one. This is what we learned. And then group two, and then of course, comment from the audience. And then group two, share, and so on. So that's how you are able to do assessment before, during, and after. Okay. So far we have 3. What are they?
Knowledge of student, content, assessment.
And
Next
the fourth,
is
fourth and fifth one are reflection and collaboration.
yeah,
Okay. So then the fourth proposition is reflection. This is where I'm going to look back and see, did my lesson work? If it did not work, what do I need to do differently? Did all my students get it? Did I differentiate enough where all the learners in my classroom got it? And if they didn't, then that's when I know my next steps would be to reteach certain areas. Or if I knew they already got it, especially based on my assessment, then I know I could go to the next part of my lesson. Okay, so that's when you reflect back. What are the strengths, the weaknesses, and next steps? Okay, and then finally, collaboration. Collaboration is very important because this is where you would contact your parents and you tell them, for example, if we're doing a big unit, I will send them a note saying, hey, we're going to be doing this safety unit and, we will be inviting you to come and all this, and we will have speakers in, talking about internet safety, about school safety, about bus safety, all these different safety things that we're going to say. You are welcome to come, all this. So I could send them a letter ahead of time. That's my collaboration piece. And then I also will have guest speakers in order to come in and talk to my students about this. And I'm university professor talking about internet safety and not having the computer in the bedroom, but instead putting it in the living room, and talk about the electrical safety. Maybe an electric company person would come in and talk about conservation, whatever. So you can give an example of the collaboration pieces that you have. Okay, and included in that is the things that you do for the community. I am also active in the community. So I would attend basketball games because this helps me know my students. On Monday, I would say things like, "Hey, John, you did a very good job in your basketball game last Friday night. Look, I'm proud of you. You made, 6 points." So those are things that my kids know that I care about them, not just in the classroom, but also outside the classroom. And that's forming the positive relationship with my students. Okay. You see how much deeper that is when you're doing the 5 core propositions, but still putting the things that you said. Okay. So if you can sometimes make a note of the 5 things and then all the I am this, I am that, put it on those umbrellas. Okay. Because those are your details about each one. And then you have a very good interview. I guarantee you that. Okay, Verlin. So you have a rewrite to do, right? And
yeah.
after you rewrite, if you have written your script and you still want to talk to me a one-on-one, you email me and we can do a one-on-one like this. And I will be glad to have your new script. And in that way, I can tell you what to include, what to take off, or whatever. And I have done that with so many, and all of them got a job. All of them that we practice, yeah. So, and most of them got more than one job offers. So they done a good job. So for everyone else, the tip is use your 5 core proposition, but then customize it to yourself. Put your own example, like Verlin's example, put it your own example under each umbrella of the core propositions, because you're going to have different ways to know your students. You have different ways of strategies and content knowledge that you're going to show. Okay, you're going to use different ways to assess and how you reflect, and then which people you're going to collaborate with. Okay. So include your special ed, because you're going to have special ed students. Of course, you're going to collaborate with your special ed teacher, right? In order to make sure that you address the needs of those students whenever you're doing a unit or a lesson. Okay? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Too much
Thank you very
information.
much. I will email you.
Okay. Email me, and the time difference here is different. So you need to make sure that you take away one. So for example, what time is it there in the US or in the Philippines? What time is it there? Is it
It's
10:30? 10:30?
yes, that could be.
10:30 at night, you go back 1 hour and then change the PM to AM. So that's me. So it's 10:30 PM there,
Yeah.
it's 9:30 AM here. Okay?
AM.
So you're 13 hours difference, you see? You're 13 hours ahead of the US. So that's why you go back 1 hour and then change the AM to PM. Okay? That's how you know. So don't wake me up in the morning at 2 3 o'clock in the morning.
I'm
My brothers
sorry.
used to do that. My brothers used to do that before they knew the difference on the time. They would like wake me up and I thought that was an emergency, but they just forgot about the time difference, because when you get woken up like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, did something happen? But no, they just forgot that, oh, I'm sorry. We forgot that it was, midnight or dawn there. I'm usually up anyway, but usually my bedtime is 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, so you're good. But
Okay.
usually my rule is here, my husband and I would say, do not call anybody after 10 o'clock. It's rude, So after 10 o'clock at night, try not to call someone. Although I make an exception, I'm still up usually. So the best way is to email me and say, "Hey, you still up? Dr. McCullough, you
Okay.
still up? Do you want to practice with me?" And we can do that. But you have to write your script already. I mean, you have to be ready, because I know how to add to it instead of me coming up with something. You have to come up with something. So all these things that you said to me are wonderful things, just package it differently. Okay? Because those are so great examples that you have, because you customize it to yourself. This is you. This is Verlin.
Yeah.
Okay?
Easy.
So
That
you
is
can do
easy.
this, girl. You can do this. Arizona, here you come. That's where Mike and them are going, to Arizona, where the Grand Canyon is beautiful. Yeah, that's a beautiful place. Very hot. When you go in there,
Yeah.
you feel like you're in the oven, I swear.
Oh,
Inside the oven. Yes, it's so hot. Yeah. So it's like the Philippines is hot. This is hotter. Very hot. Yeah, it's a desert. Yeah. So very hot. Anyway, okay, well, it's nice to meet you. I
I will
feel like
prepare
I know you
myself
though,
if
because
ever.
you always comment and would like some of the things that I post. So I always remember you, because I'm like, yay, there she is. So thank you for that. Yeah, I always notice those names. Yeah. So you deserve to come, okay? You deserve to be here because you've worked so hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And was
Yes.
you and your husband, right? You and your husband are both teachers? Is that right? Or no?
No, only
I'm
me.
thinking
Only me.
just you. Okay.
But
Just-
but I wanna bring him too because you want me to beside always.
Very good. Yeah.
We
What does
are
he do for a living? What does he do?
always.
What is his job?
He is a security guard.
Okay. Well, I would
Officer of
recommend, yeah, I would
security officer.
recommend, because it's cheap there to get training. If you have a husband that likes to do welding or air conditioning unit, those that would fix air conditioners and stuff. They call them air and I
Second.
forgot. Anyway,
Second.
so that, yeah, the system, they have if you have training like that, he could get a job here and makes a lot of money, sometimes more than teachers. Okay. And electrician here makes a lot of money. And so if he just like, they don't even have to show their education. They just have to know, like, they have assisted people. Like, for example, if he has friends that are into like building houses or whatever, have them to help him. So that way he knows what to do, because here it starts at $25 an hour. Okay. That's about, let me see, to $20 is more than 1,000. It's 1,200 plus. So about 1,000, close to 1,500 per hour. Okay. That's how much they make. So you'll have some kind of training for him. And if he doesn't know how to drive, he needs to practice to drive. So because you're gonna have to know how to drive here. And if you are in a big, huh?
He knows how to drive.
Oh, good. But so if you
And
end up in a big city, like in Arizona, if you're in a big city, he could always be a Uber driver or a Lyft driver because they make good money too. You have to have your own vehicle, but yeah, that's one of the things that he could do too. They make good money as well. Yeah. So with security guard, I don't know if you could just get an security guard thing here. I don't know. They don't pay very much. Security guards are not paid very much here at all. Yeah. Um, but anything with a training or certificate, it pays well. Electrical, air conditioning, your plumbing, all those things like that are so expensive to get somebody to come in. The plumbers, just when they come to visit you, they already charge you 40, $50 just because they came before they even open anything. Yeah, it's so expensive. Yeah. So he makes good money. He needs to do some training, get some training before he comes here. Okay. All right, that's my advice to everyone else too. If you have husband, wives, um, the advantage of having a J1 visa, which is a 5-year visa, because after 5 years, you're going to have to go back to Philippines and teach them what you know. Then you can come back here. So it's a 2-year process, 5 years here, 2 years in the Philippines, and you can do another 5 years. But if you're going to have a school that would tell you that we want to sponsor you with H-1B visa, which is, a path to citizenship, a path to green card. But the problem is the your on J1, your husband or spouse would be J2. They ride with you. Then when you get approved, they get approved. So are your kids. And then once they come here, they can get when you get your social security card, they also get you theirs. And then when they get that, you can apply for EAD, which is Employment Authorization Document. So once they get their EAD within a month or 2 months, then they can work. Okay. But on H1 visa, it's 1B visa, the husband or spouse is called H4. They're H4 beneficiaries. They cannot work. They cannot work unless you get the main person will get the green card. Once you get your green card, then they can work. So that's the disadvantage of that. But the very big advantage is that you're gonna have a path to green card. Once you have 6-year limit on that. So within 6 years, before the 6 years over, maybe the third year, fourth year, then you apply for a green card, with the help of your employer. And then once you get the paperwork, then your husband or wife can work. Okay. So those are the ones, because some schools may be asking you, what do you prefer, H1B or J1? Although, a bunch of them would not really want H1B because that's a big responsibility for the schools. They're responsible for you for 10 years or 6 years, whatever. But the J1 visa is like your sponsor is going to be kind of working with the school, and they are your sponsor, and they are the ones in charge of you. Really, they're helping you. And then they are going to be talking to the school as well. So it's like a program. So it's an exchange program. So it's a teacher exchange program. You know how you have exchange students? This is like exchange teachers. That's what J1 visa is. So which means that your sponsor is going to ask you to submit like a proof of what you're doing to learn about the American culture and to teach the American culture. So I see a lot of teachers doing like multicultural unit where they're showing the Philippines, different things about the Philippines, and then teaching their students that, and having a Filipino party thing, with all the different samples of food, and the kids, learned about it and so on. So yeah, you can do something like that, and they want a video of it or pictures of it in order for you to be approved for that. I don't know what they call it, but to pass for that requirement that they have. I don't know if it was twice a year, I think, every semester, I think. Anyway, could be once a year, I don't remember. But anyway, there is that requirement for the J1. Okay, so it is not a green card path. So if you are going to be going for an interview after you get a job offer, so this is what happens after you interview, and if they like you, I mean, at the end of the interview, they're going to ask you, okay, do you have a question for us? And you know that you always ask about PDs or whatever, right? And then you need to
thank them later. Send them an email, the person that contacted you, send them an email saying, thank you so much for your time. I realize you're so busy as administrators and you took the time. I really enjoyed visiting with you, and I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. So that way your email will be in their inbox already. So if they choose you, they'll just email you and say, hey, you got a job or whatever. And so, but that's always impressive when a teacher that you interviewed will send you a thank you letter, to thank them about their time. So it's always a good idea to do that. And so then after that, they will, if they would get you, they will ask you, we're going to be hiring you for this job. Are you still interested? They're going to do an extra, asking, because that job is not going to be final until it's approved by the school board. School board is the representative of the people. And usually there's small schools would have five, at least five, and then the bigger schools would have more. And then they're the ones that are going to approve the hiring and firing of people. And so although the principal will say, okay, I want to get this to happen, but it has to be approved by the board, because the board is the ultimate boss, right? And so because it's public school. And then once they get approved, then they send you an offer letter. Or sometimes it's the opposite. They'll send you the offer letter first and then get it approved. But some of them do it backwards. So either way. But anyway, that job offer, JO, is the one that you need in order for you to give it to a visa sponsor to say, I have a JO, I have a job offer here already, and can you please help sponsor me? Do you have visa slots available? And then because I think they have 50, 30, 50 slots available. So these are the number of people, depending on the organization, how many they can bring in. So you have to ask them if they still have any open. Slots open. And so then when they say yes, and then some of them would ask you to pay a certain amount of money to registration or whatever they call it, fee, some kind of fee. And then once you come up with that, then that process goes very fast. Within possibly 2 or 3 months, you're here. Okay, so you have to get so for those that are applying, make sure you have your resume and cover letter, send it to me so I can comment on it. And then and also I can send you to other schools, for recommendation. And then you get your FCE, of course, done in order for you to see what what the equivalent is for your courses to the American courses. I think every 3 credits, 3 hours that you have, it's only given to 1/4 credit in the US. So you don't get the full credit, but at least it will translate what that means. This particular course is the same as this course in America. That's kind of what it's doing. But you have to pay about $200, I think, right, to do that. And spantran.com.
Yeah.
And of course, you have your passport ready, because you cannot travel here with a passport does not have at least 6 months in it. So if it's about to expire and it's less than 6 months, they're not going to let you in the airplane. So be sure that you have your passport that has more than 6 months. Or, I would make sure that I have the 10 years thing. So anyway, because you are here for 5 years, and if it's going to expire, I guess you can go to another state. And in Arkansas, the closest for me is in Houston. The closest Philippine embassy is in Houston, Texas. Or I could go to New Orleans, Louisiana. That's the other one. So it's going to be a hassle for you to look for a Philippine embassy, unless you're in these 2 states, to renew. It's a pain. So I would make sure that your passport is still good for 5 years or more. And so after there are some cases, by the way. There's one case right now. Somebody called me, a teacher, and the moment I said hello, and she started crying so hard, and I said, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" Somebody's calling. Hang on. Somebody's calling, Dad. Anyway, so then she said that she got fired. She got fired by the school. And I said, without talking to her, there were some problems with students fighting or whatever. And I think that the administrator got tired of messing with classroom management stuff, that just fired her, and then called the sponsor and said she's no longer employed by us. So we terminate the contract. And so she said that if they didn't do it that way, if they gave her a chance to resign, then she would have been able to get another school. But because they terminate the contract, she has to leave the Philippines now. She is given, I think, 2 months
to leave the Philippines, to leave for the Philippines, to finish the year and then go to the Philippines. And so she's crying and asking me, and I said, well, right now there's really nothing I can do because that is gonna be between you, the school, and your sponsor. So the sponsor need to be talking to your school, and you need to be talking to your school and see what they can come up with. Because when you are free to be able to go for looking for another job, then maybe I make some phone calls and see if there's anybody that's needing the class that class you're teaching, is English. And if somebody's needing an English teacher, then I could possibly help you get an interview, not a job, but an interview if they like you. But I can't do that right now because you have an order to go home. So if another school would hire you and you do not, you can't stay, that's kind of a waste of time. So I really, there's nothing I can do right now. My hands are tied. So now she's in the process of like talking to both places. So I don't know. I have to follow up and see what happened. But it broke my heart, that happened to her because she was so upset. She had plans and so on. This is only her second year. So she actually potentially have 3 more years to stay here. But if sometimes you can find administrators that are not very supportive of you. And that's why it's very important to form that relationship. So once you get here, you need to be really positive and you really need to form that positive relationship with not just your administrator, but your colleagues and of course, the parents and the students. Have that good relationship and reputation, really, a good relationship established, and that way the kids would love you. And of course, with the kids love and the parents love, they're not going to fire you because there will be pressure on the parents. So, but if you have parents hating you and students, I mean, I'm not saying it's her situation, I do not know, but in some cases where there are some teachers, even local teachers, where students are not liking them, parents are hating them, then that's going to be not a very encouraging thing for administrators to decide on keeping that teacher when everybody hates her. Colleagues hate you because you can't get along with people. You don't do that. As Filipinos, I don't think I see that we are doing that at all. We are always forming relationships. Yeah, I just finished serving 12 days at a school as a consultant, and I was there for 3 days at a time for 4 weeks. And so I formed such good relation. I mean, I have to brag, humble brag here, but I have formed good relationship with them that I miss them. And they said that they'll miss me. So that means that I have successfully formed that relationship with the students, the colleagues, the teachers there, and then the administrators. And so, based on their comment, I can see that, oh, I have formed that relationship. I have shown that I had knowledge of students and content. And of course, I've done the assessment. And that's my reflection now. How did I do? But then, yeah, collaborating piece of it, you don't be afraid to ask for help. When you come here, what I'm finding for Filipino teachers is that they're afraid to ask for help. We kind of shy, we're modest. I'm not, but I've always been, open to like ask for questions. But, very common in our culture. I'm not generalizing. It's just that that's what I see, that my friends and teachers that I see are not very, I guess not very out there. Not, the interpersonal skills may not be as developed. That's some people are just that. They are intrapersonal. That means they're into themselves and shy instead of interpersonal. Like me, I am very much strong in that. But that's not all our gifts, right? But don't be shy. They are there to help you. And you can pretty much tell the people that around you that do not support you. You can see with their eyes. You can see with their fake smiles. And I can read through that everywhere. So everywhere I go, I can tell when somebody's like, I don't know, I cannot do enough for this person. I'm not gonna try. I would just be as civil as I can be, but I'm not gonna kiss her behind, or his behind. That's just that he made up his mind or she made up his mind not to like me or not to like my peeps, my people. So my Filipino friends. So that's just his problem. That's his loss. But I'm not gonna make him mad. I'm not gonna do something that will, upset him. That's not something I do. But I want him to see that we're okay. You're afraid of, sometimes people are afraid of the unknown. If they don't know you, they've never been around Filipinos, so they don't really know what kind of people we are. So they are afraid of the unknown. And that's kind of how I always put a file in my head. They're like, okay, those are just some folks that do not know. So they don't know better, they don't do better. So usually when they know better, they hopefully do better and treat you better because they know that, and that's why I always
even teach my students this. And do you know, like, I think my last day there at that school last Thursday. So I said, hey, I know a lot about you guys because you write a journal for me every day. You know, we do a check-in every day where, you know, I was teaching literacy. So it's reading, writing, and vocabulary were the three things that I focused on. And so every day they have this journal. So everybody's got this notebook, their office, a bunch of notebooks. So I said, hey, can I have some notebooks? And so they gave me this notebook. So the first day I made them like decorated, make it their own. Said, I want you to do 3 avatars or 3 items there that represent yourself. And I modeled it. So I have my own notebook and I showed them, okay, these are mine. You know, look at this apple represents that I'm a teacher. And look at this owl. That means I'm a learner, really like to learn. And this is books. I love to read. You know, but if I can have a fourth one, that would be fishing. That would be a bait, you know, because I love to fish. So those are, but I'm only asking you for 3 things. And you tell me why you drew those. So this is my knowledge of students, very informal. I want to know how they talk and how they organize their thoughts because that's, you know, our writing is thoughts on paper, right? And so anyway, so I always modeled it. So when they were writing, like, okay, check in. So I taught them about check in, which means that every day when they come in, the first 5 minutes, like a bell ringer. So they tell me from 1 to 10 how you feel. So if it's 5 or less, you have a bad day. 6 to 10, you have an okay day. But, you know, 8, 9, and 10, that would be awesome days, right? And so I would always model. It's like, oh, too bad my days. Oh, whoa. I would start with interjection or some feelings, things there, some onomatopoeia. I say, oh, not a good day today because I had stomach ache when I woke up and all this. And I would just say, you know, I sound like myself. But on the other hand, you know, I was balanced. On the other hand, I would have to say it's an 8 because then I'm looking forward to talking to my husband this afternoon. And tonight we're gonna go out to eat with the other consultant or the other teachers and go shopping. You know, so I would say things that I'm looking forward to, things that I'm not very happy about my day, usually because I have a headache or something like that. And then I would model that. But today my focus is looking for robust vocabulary. Those are 3 multisyllabic words. So instead of saying pretty, I want you to say beautiful, and I want you to circle those. Okay, so every day I have a different focus. These are my tips of writing. So I have a long tips of writing 10 things. And so today my tip number 1 is use robust vocabulary. Use big words. Do not use dead words. Dead words are like good, nice, you know, really short words that our elementary students are using because I was teaching 7th, 9th, and 10th graders. So they have to have big words, you know. So I would give them a tip and they circle those or highlight those. And so the next day, I may do that for a couple of days. And the next day I'm like, okay, today we're going to work on your check-in. I want you to work on how you begin your sentences. I want you to highlight every beginning of your sentences because my tip today is not to start the same way. I do not say, you know, I did this, I did that, you know. Those are very elementary. We do that for our first grade and kindergarten, sometimes second, but those are called sentence stems. We don't need to use the same sentence stems. We do that for our young ones because we are teaching them how to form the sentences. We are now in 7th grade or 9th grade or 10th grade, so we should be able to form it differently, by different way. And you can do that usually by using transitional words. So for example, my day is bad because I don't feel well. And then explain, I don't feel well because you know. And then before you go to and make another point, you change transitions. Say your point, say your main idea, and then explain. Then you do a transition. That way you don't ever start the same way. Because I don't want a list. I don't want this, and this. I want you to tell me one thing and explain it. Couple of sentences. Tell me one thing, explain it a couple of sentences. And so that's what I modeled. I would show it to them like, okay, see, I highlighted all my beginning of my sentences. Do you see that it's starting a different way? That's what I need to do on yours. You know, and I set the timer. So I would do my watch. I'm like, okay, Siri, set for 2 minutes. You know, I will 5 minutes. And then Siri would say, yeah. And so, yeah, I would do that. And then Siri would time it and then counting down. And while they're doing it, I'm also doing mine. Yeah. So if I did not, because what I do is I would write for the first period, folks. I would write it ahead of time so I could show them. But the next period, I will just like read them. But then I'm writing something else in order. But the point is, when they are writing, you're writing. When they're reading, you're reading. You're modeling how it is to be a reader and how it is to be a writer. So yeah, and I always do an exemplar, have a sample of what I want to see. This is an example. This is how I look at it. So when I asked them to do an autobiography, I wrote my autobiography and I showed them, this is my autobiography. And these are the 3 categories that I chose to do. So my first, the body paragraph, I did my introduction, and then I did my body one, my first body paragraph. I put like all about my friends, for example. So I mentioned, what we do together, whatever, I put the category. And then next, or furthermore, I then talk maybe about your goals or whatever. Talk about that. And the third one, you put the very most important thing for you. My most important family. So I would put, okay, last but not least, my family. I really love, nah, nah, nah. So I would say that. And then I would do my conclusion. Okay. But see, once you do that, then you model it, you show it to them. And then on top of that, later when they get so good at this, then I taught them how to use the rubric, the same rubric that the big test, the summative test that they're doing. It's called Atlas in Arkansas. That's how they're being graded. And we would grade it and say, okay, this will be on PFO, on purpose, focus, and organization, the PFO. This is going to be a 4. This is a 4 because, no. This is a 3 because those is missing, and the next one is EE, which is evidence and elaboration. So there is evidence, there's explanation, there's a reason here, and there are some elaboration. So you will get a 4. So it's sort of, and then the last part is conventions. Those are the 3 things that are tested here in Arkansas in literacy. So PFO, purpose, focus, and organization. Organization is the transition. Purpose is the purpose of writing. They're looking at beginning, middle, and end, your introduction, your conclusion, and how your body paragraphs connect to each other. That's your purpose. Okay, so your purpose could be informative writing, or the purpose could be argumentative writing, so persuade or to have people to be on your side. So that's why it's purpose. And then the focus part is are they staying on task? Are they focusing on the topic? So which means that if the topic is about psychological terms, psychology, then I should see some psychological terms in that paper. That's why I know they're going to be focused on that paper. They're not, if I'm asking them about technological things, then they're giving me airplane things or something opposite, then that's not going to get a 4, right? Because they're not focusing. But then the O part is organization, and that's always meaning transition. And transition in high school doesn't mean first, second, third. That's elementary. You need to say to begin with, transitional phrases, just to start with, or, yeah, it has to be 2 or 3 words. Okay. And then you say furthermore, moreover, in conclusion at the end there, and so on. So you have to have those transitions at every paragraph, and that will make a better essay. And so that's kind of, I'm teaching you literacy now, but that's how you can also do a check-in, and that's also showing you having you formed a positive relationship with your students, because you get to hear this every day. There's one kid that I had, she was always every day. She said, I'm a 3. And I said, what? A 3, really? And he said, Tiggy, wow. I always wake up like a 3, Dr. McCullough. I said, why? Because I'm always like, I don't know. I'm always like irritated about everything. And I'm like, so I have to teach them about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So I have to say, well, so I got a glass of water and I said, okay, I see this as half full. I said, no, it's as half empty. And I said, exactly. Fixed mindset, negative filtered folks would look at it as half empty. I look at it as half full. And that's what you should see in life. You should see things as half full, not half empty, for the same thing. So I said, my goal for you is to be able to see things in a positive light. If you say something, you're irritated about something, then you have to flip it around and say, okay, so what's a good thing about it? For example, if I get lost, and they said people that you can tell if people are happy or contented or positive is because when they get lost, they, driving and they get lost, they turn it the wrong way. Instead of getting mad, they're actually happy. Say, oh, I would not have seen this side or scene if I did not get lost. That's how I do it. Every time I was like, see, this is a scene that I would not have seen. This particular part of town I would not have seen if I didn't get lost. And that tells me that you have a growth mindset, that you are open to possibilities and you are positive. You're not going to be like, oh, poor me, or, get mad. So yeah, those are the road rage. But anyway, so this particular kid is so funny. My last day or 2 days before that, he said, I'm a 9 today. But oh my, everybody was like clapping. Oh my God, I said, this is the same girl that was a 3 or 4 always. And said, well, Dr. McCullough, I did what you said. I always try to look on the opposite side and say, okay, so this what's good about this. And I said, oh, good. Give her a hand, a round of applause. Everybody was just clapping. There's only 4 of them. But, we were clapping and being happy for her. I always give candies. I was like, give you a couple of candies there. Good job. And so I was rewarding her because that's the thing we should teach our students. We model that. So I model that we need to be positive. So they are watching you. They're not going to do what you say. They're going to do what you do. Right. And so she was doing that. So that was like, that made my day. So then let you say, the next day I said, oh yeah, it was 2 days before because I said the next day, you know what, for her class, I said, my check-in for her class, I said, I gave myself a 10 today. One of the main reason is because so-and-so, had an 8 yesterday, a rating of this yesterday, which is a big improvement from a 3. I just kind of say it like talking to them and everybody was like laughing, but it's me showing them that I care about you. That I want you to have a good day, that life happens, but this is how you take it. He said, also that life happens to you, but your attitude is 90% of it. Okay, it's because 10% is what you do about it, but it's what happens to you is how you take it. Like I'm gonna look at it in this way as a growth thing. This is will help me grow. What doesn't break you makes you grow stronger, builds character, my husband would say. So it builds character. So that builds your character. That I learned from that. I grow because of that. I won't do that again because I experienced it. But if you get mad because that happened, then that's not good. That's not good for you. That's not good for everybody else, right? Okay. Verlin, I talked to you so long. But anyway, I made it into a teachable moment. So what are the two things that you learned from the long talk? Tell me.
I will only tell or minimize the about me, only
Yes.
the things that I do in the classroom, and
Learning
then
and teaching
share
and
the
learning.
experiences, share based on my experience, and always about the students, the welfare and the safeness of the students.
Hey, everybody, double thumbs up for her. That
I
was so
think
good. Yeah, double thumb. Let's give her a round of applause. And this is what you do also in your classroom. Have a positive culture. It's like you are the biggest cheerleader of your students. So you're gonna be having them clap for each other. You're gonna be celebrating things. Yay! Give us a like a wow. This is one of my favorite elementary. They like this. Wow, here
yeah,
W or OW. You do this. Wow, let's give her a wow. Like this. So you have different ways to validate them and they like that. High school, they're like, I don't know about that, Dr. I'm like, okay, what is a cool way to do it? So there are other ways that they want, but yeah, so the point is validate it. And I want to validate you because you have been listening. And hopefully when we practice, then you have
yeah.
applied rather the things that I said. Remember 5 core propositions as your heading, as your big umbrellas. Okay, and plug in
Thank
everything.
you very much.
Got it.
I will remember all those.
Yay! And we just made a really good video about that too, about the 5 core propositions. So thank you. So anyway, so you want to call somebody for me? I do that for in my classroom too. I have them call the next person.
Maybe Mr. Ryan, Mr. Ryan or
Yeah, we
Mr.
have
Marvin.
good idea because we have been calling girls. In my classroom, I cannot do 3 girls in a row. They
Yeah.
have to be like yeah.
After the girls, next is boys.
Boys, yeah, male teacher's turn. Okay, who is it that you called?
Marvin or Sir Ryan?
Okay,
Teacher
come on.
Ryan.
You attending because you want to talk and practice with me, I hope.
Yeah.
I never force
Early
people.
now.
I never force kids to, I never force them. I would never do that. So I would say, you want to wait another day? You don't want to do the day? You want to wait another day? It's okay with me. Just write them down. Write them in your journal. I would always give them an out because you don't want to fight or flight. You want them to be able to have an out. And so, yeah, I would not ever put them on a corner like that. Okay. So if you're not ready to do it today, you can come 2 weeks from now or not.
Or here is Mr. Marvin.
Okay. Hey guys, if you get
Mr.
called, please
Marvin.
acknowledge. You can say things like, I cannot do it today. I'll do it next time. Acknowledge us, please.
Mr. Marvin, are you ready to introduce yourself?
Yes,
Thank
good
you so
Merlina.
much. Oh, there
morning.
you are. Yay. Hey, Marvin, have I seen you
Hey.
before? You look familiar to me. I've seen you before.
Yes, you've seen me here
That's what I thought.
in Lapu-Lapu, in your house.
You have? Let me see.
Yes.
Ah, Gasta. You know my brothers.
Yes, I'm living.
Are you living?
I'm renting actually. I'm renting here.
That's it. Okay. So you're with
Mm.
Jaime or Armin?
Arman.
Armin. Oh, got it. Okay, so they're doing some construction there right now. I just talked to them last night.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, well, so you work for Baba National High School?
Yes, I'm with Stephanie.
Okay, got it. So Stephanie's there with you right now?
No.
Okay. So tell me more about you because everybody does not remember.
Okay, so thank you very much. Let me start. I am Marvin B. Gasta. So I am a teacher for almost 20 years actually. 4 years of that is teaching biology in a private school, and 16 years of that is in actually in at Babag National High School in public school.
Okay.
So I am teaching science, grade 7, grade 8, and actually grade 9.
Okay, so 7 to 9. So when I go
Yes,
to
7 to
when
9.
I go to Cebu, I'll have to visit your classroom, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you could.
It's walking
Actually, I'm
distance.
staying at a physics lab.
Really? Okay. Okay, go ahead,
Yes.
continue. So you science,
Yeah.
okay, 20 years. That's awesome. Okay.
Okay, so usually I right now I am teaching grade 7 for almost 17 years already. Okay, 17 years. Then last week we have our third quarter exam, because and right now we are in coming preparation for our fourth quarter because we are about to end this April.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Ended April now. April
yes,
is
April 15.
okay, nice. Okay.
Yes, April 15 will be the last day of our class.
Okay.
Okay, so
What's your
that's
philosophy
it.
of teaching? What's your philosophy of science teaching?
Philosophy is actually I like my students to learn best when they are involved
Very
in
good.
classroom, like doing experiments.
Good job.
So we do a lot of experiment. I think we have one experiment per week.
Good job.
Yes, one
Tell us about
experiment
your
per week.
favorite. Tell us your favorite that students like the best. You need
We have yesterday actually we have our lesson all about seasons here in the Philippines. Why is it different from the seasons there in your country, in America? I'm always actually teaching them all about seasons, but I haven't experienced the 4 seasons.
Yeah, you've only done the dry and the wet and the wet.
Yes, only the dry and the wet, and that's why I like to come to America to experience that one.
Perfect. That's a perfect thing that you need to say whenever you're being, use that as an example because that always makes people smile and laugh, because you are connecting it to science, seasons, and then also America. Perfect. You make sure you add that, okay? Because you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
not experienced snow. You want to see because that's what I always used to say. I'm like, I cannot believe snow would fall from, fall from the sky. I just cannot believe it. It's like ice would come down and snow would come down. I can't believe it, but it's very beautiful. When you
I always tell them when I went to America via Google Map.
you go, yeah. We
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that too. Say that too. I want you to say that too in
Mm.
your interview because that shows that you use technology in science. Okay. So you say that.
Yes.
I said, well, I always tell my
Mm.
students, so you can just say it by saying, I always use Google Map because I believe that it's important for students to use science as a tool, whatever, so always do the
Yes.
why and the how to. Okay. All right. Good one. Those two things you need to remember to include. Okay.
And that's it. Then in our first quarter we have these actually the topic is all about chemistry, and we have our experiment about solutions,
Oh.
and they love that one.
But what material do you use for the solutions? Do you put different colored something?
Yes, yes, that one. Yeah.
Colored dye, okay?
Yes, the what do you call that one? Some dyes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we do have that. We do have that one. Then what else? They love to mix. Okay, so
Yeah.
usually I have some videos of that and or pictures of that one.
Okay.
Because during that time I let my co-teachers or my um, master teachers observe, do some class observation.
Okay,
Okay,
very
so
good. I want you to also say that because that shows you being a reflective teacher. You want somebody to videotape you so you can watch it and reflect on how you teach. That's very good.
yes,
Include that too. You
uh,
have some really great things you can include. Make sure. Okay.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Okay. So then for the second quarter, that our topic is all about actually biology because first quarter is chemistry, second quarter is biology. Okay. So in our biology class, usually we talk about maybe some anatomy, but actually since we cannot dissect, okay, so
Why
we
not?
just have I think some issues about killing some
Human rights,
animals.
animal rights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I do actually when I was in the private school, I do that. I do dissect frogs because I was
Very good.
teaching actually biology.
Okay, so you need to make sure you say that. Okay, so although I
Yeah.
could not do this in the public school because of the animal rights issue, I was
Yes.
able to do this in the private school. Okay,
Uh,
you need to say that. Yeah. So you
uh,
did experience that. Good.
uh.
Okay.
So we did experience that in my during my teaching in private school. So like a comparative anatomy of frog and humans because they have just this most likely the same parts. There's just some little parts which are different.
Mhm.
So that's why in the private school, way back in Bugo. Oh.
Mm.
So uh, right now, since I am in the public school, so I cannot do that anymore. And because of the K to 12 curriculum, so way before we have the BEC, the basic education curriculum, which we could do, which is every year level is actually a major science subject like chemistry. Grade 7 is all about general science. Grade 8 is biology. Grade 9 is chemistry. And grade 10 is physics. But right now, because of the K to 12 curriculum, we have spiral from grade 7 to grade 10. Okay, spiral. So we have this all subject, but per grading period.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good explanation because they would not know that one. Okay, because I think that generation science standards is what they use here. And
Mm.
so, and that might be the same as what you do. So what you need to do, Marvin, is go to Department of Education of the state that you want, hopefully Arkansas. So if you do Arkansas, you'd Google Arkansas Department of Education in quotation marks. So it will show up the whole thing. And then go under curriculum and look at their science standards. All the standards will be
Okay.
there. So I want you to look and compare and see because then
Yes.
when you interview, you can say it's different than Arkansas because, and you can tell them the difference because you did look. Okay. So that goes for everybody
Yes.
else. You need to look. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, doc. So actually, I applied in Arkansas. So there are different, I think, different schools from the one that you have given to us.
Mm-hmm. So did you get an
Yeah.
interview at all?
So not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So Marvin, did you say you have sent your resume to me?
Yes.
And did
And
they
you've
give you a
already corrected it.
correction? Did I give you
Yes.
a correction? Okay. Did you fix it?
Yes.
Okay. And did you send it back to me? Yeah, just
Not
send
yet.
it back the corrected copy so I can see if there's anything else that you might have missed. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I think I have a couple of schools that are needing some science teachers. Maybe I can forward yours to them. But you have to fix
Thank
it.
you so
You
much.
have to fix it, yeah. So anyway, so my brother's not gonna call me Doc. They're gonna call me Ellen, right? They call me.
Yes.
Did you tell them? Did you tell them you're gonna talk to Ellen today? So I need to invite them to watch these things. I mean, I don't know. You have to show them. Have you seen some of my videos on YouTube?
Yes. Yes. Yes,
You
ma'am.
have to show them someday because I don't think I've ever told my family that I have this. Because I think I separate my family to my personal and professional.
Actually, I told Bibi.
Yeah, did Bibi watch?
Uh,
Because
I
she's
don't know if
a teacher.
you watch because actually she asked me, "Sir, when are we going to enroll in our master's class?"
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
So maybe next week because I'll be having my uh refresher course for
Oh,
master's class.
okay. You
Then
already have
Bibi
your
will
master.
be enrolling
Nice. Well,
for his
golly, Bibi's not even having a job yet, and she's already going through it, huh?
yes
Okay.
advance.
Okay. Well, tell her that maybe Auntie Ellen can help her. But anyway, I think special ed is another area. If you already are a science major, do not go another science major. Do a different area like special ed because the
Yes.
high school math, high school science, and high school English plus special ed are the four areas that can get a job here.
Okay.
So science, we're having a hard time looking for science teachers. So now that I heard that you do all these experiments and hands-on things, I think you will be attractive to those two schools that I'm thinking about. They just contacted me and say, "Hey, Merlina, if you can find a good teacher that does a lot of experiments and all that." So when you said that, I'm like, okay, and I made a mental note to send your resume and cover letter to them. So if you hear back from them, they will mention that Merlina mentioned you or whatever. So anyway, we'll see. I could never make them to do anything. You just have to give them suggestion, but of course, what they do is up to them, right? Yeah. But a
Yes.
lot of times I'm finding that they actually trust, instead of me sending like a whole bunch, they actually trust it when you send like one or two at a time, because then it's like not just a whole bunch. It's like somebody specific that I actually have talked to and known. That's why it's important for you to be recorded, because all I tell them, because I make a record of who's going to be in each video. So I just look back and think, okay, he's in video 93. I want you to look at the video 93 and he's going to be in there. So anyway, and I've done that in so many. So that's why it's important to get video, get videotaped or recorded. Okay. So what else do you have? Like they ask you, do you have a question for us? What would you say, Marvin?
Question.
The panel is
Question.
going to ask you, do you have a question for us? Because they always end up interviews with that. They ask the
Okay.
person if you have a question for them.
So do you have some actually living quarters for us or maybe accommodation?
Okay, that's not a good question to ask, but you can ask it later. But a main question you should ask is like professional development.
Okay.
What kind of professional development you have for international teachers? You can ask like,
Noted.
yeah, do you have any mentors that could help me, be especially in my first year to kind of help me if I have any questions. But then later on you can say, you can say also, I wonder about accommodation, but if you're in Arkansas, you don't worry because I will help you. Okay. So
Noted. Noted.
for everyone, you go to Zillow.com, Zillow, Zillow,
ZLLOW. Dot
Z as in letter Z as in, zebra,
ILLOW.
Zillow. Zillow.com, you will have it's a place to rent or sell, so you can type your city or an state, and then it will show you all the for rent and for sale places there. As a J1 person, you cannot buy anything. If you
Yes.
H1B, they let you buy. But of course, so expensive anyway. But you can actually type then you can see how much, you see. You can see how much, you see lots of pictures of it and so on. And then you can use your Google map to see where they are, is what kind of neighborhood it is. You don't want to be in a neighborhood where there's a lot of like um drug ridden neighborhoods where there's a lot of, you can see all the yards that had a bunch of junk or whatever, that's not a good sign. But yeah, you can Google things. I always Google things. When I do consulting work, I would actually Google where the area is, like where my last one was when was in there 12 days. I Googled, oh, there's a dollar store next door. Like a dollar store is like a really like a Walmart except smaller. And so I said, good, because then if I need anything, I can go to that. And I know exactly that it's very close to the school. And so anyway, and also when I was driving, I'm like, oh, I'm in a dollar store. I know the school will be right next door. So yeah, Google Map knowledge is gonna be helpful to you. And I experienced talking about seasons. this is an embarrassing experience, but it was funny now. My second day in America, this was, I came in October 30th, 1987. So on 31st, this is Halloween here. And so anyway, I woke up and I said to my husband, because our house was, this is the older house, and we are now in another house. So we're by the highway. So I look, and next to it is like there's some trees, right? Now it's a hotel, but back then there was a trees. It was ours. It was our property. Anyway, so I said, dear, do we have any goats here? No, they never mentioned any goats. She said, look. I said, what goats? And he looked and said, oh, those are deer, wild deer, usa, wild deer. So I said, oh, they're wild deer. And I'm like, so I was so ignorant because I'm like, oh, so that's not goats, because when I look at it closely, because he got the binoculars. And so I look at him like, yeah, that is not a goat horn. It was like this, the really weird goat thing.
Antlers.
Yeah. And then another time, that same year, I think, it snowed. And so my husband Dwayne said, oh, it's raining cats and dogs, and which means that it's raining a lot, right? So I
Yes.
started running
Yeah,
to the
raining
window and I
hard.
said, oh, it rains ice and snow and also cats and dogs. So he was laughing so hard. He thought that was funny. But I said, well, they never show that in movies that they do cats and dogs too. Because I take things literally, so when you come here, you would take things literally. So now I do training on figurative language, on slangs and all that. So I
Yes.
would make that as an example. Everybody just laughs because I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm not telling a story. It really happened that I really did think that, well, is it possible to do snow and ice? Why not cats and dogs? So you have lots of things like that you take literally. Like if I say, you know what, you need to be more confident. I said, not you, but people need to be more confident as a teacher because the kids will eat their lunch. What does eat your lunch mean? Do you know?
I don't know.
No? Okay. Eating their lunch means that the kids will just abuse it. Like, she's easy. So I'm just gonna, like as a bully, or take your lunch and eat it. So they were like bullying the teacher because that's easy, teacher. You're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm new in America, kind of type thing. So you just have to pretend like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I own this place. You can kind of have this confidence, because that's what I do. I'm like, whenever I graduated in 91, I was so like, oh my God, I'm so short. Here I am. I'm only 4'10", I keep losing. I'm an inch every 10 years. So I said, what do I do? I mean, these kids are going to be tall. And what do I do? Are they going to respect me? Are they going to, So then when I went to the classroom, I didn't have any issue. I don't care what grade, because I just pretend like, hey, I'm the adult here and I know
Yeah.
what I'm doing. I've been to school 4 years, back then. I'm like, I've been
Yes.
here 4 years and now I'm 30 years in. So I said, I'm 4 years and I know what I'm doing, and you are kids and I can help you and you can help me. We can learn from each other. And exactly
Yeah.
that's what I tell them. And I said, guys, students, I do not have all the answers. Nobody does. And that's why we have, in my speech lately, I said that's why we have Siri to help us, we have Alexa to help us, and we have all these sources of technology, AI, as long as you use it the right way. Do not use ChatGPT to turn an essay to me because I will know. Zero GPT or something that you can actually see if the students use chat GPT. It will highlight the things that were used by AI. So that's a way to, I
Okay.
think I want to throw zero
Not it.
GPT or zero. Anyway, there's something with zero in it, an app, it's a website, and then it will actually screen if it was using. And it's really nice because when I was teaching, graduate school, we always told our students that it cannot be more than 20%. So if it's 20%, that's red because it's been online.
Nasa eternity,
That's
no?
how we do it. 20% or 15. Okay. So that's what you tell students that. Of course, I'm talking literacy here. So in science, then, what kind of report do you ask the students? Do you do some kind of lab report or lab journals?
Actually, we do have some laboratory works every now and then. Laboratory. So our class setting, actually, we have in every day I have only 4 class
Okay.
every day. So
For
yes,
classes.
we have 1.5 hour per class
Okay, so
per day.
you have block. That's
So
called block
yes,
schedule.
yes. So first day, first meeting, actually that is good. that is actually good for 2 meetings, but we
Okay.
just compressed that to 1 meeting.
Okay.
So our first meeting, I do have some lectures. Then second meeting is exam or laboratory. We actually that would be a laboratory. So we do experiments on the second day based from our lecture discussion during the first meeting. So that is what I am always doing every week
Okay.
on my study. So that's why I have experiments per week, one experiment per week or one activity per week.
Very good.
Then I
Is
let
that requirement
the
or no? Is that a requirement though to have a one experiment a week? It's a requirement.
no.
Okay.
That is not a requirement, but actually we because of the matatag curriculum, so we are given the lesson exemplar already. Not the DLP, but the lesson exemplar given by the government. So
Okay.
that is what we are following right now.
Okay. Now what's DLP?
Okay.
What is DLP?
Daily lesson plan.
Okay. So make sure that Marvin, that you say things like the acronym, make sure you tell them what it is because it's not gonna be here, okay? So DLP,
Yes.
like what is it? Yeah. So they see I'm Filipino. I don't know that because I was a
Yes.
student there, but not a teacher.
Uh,
Yeah. So anyway, hang on. Let me just answer this real quick. Hey Megan. Megan, I'm on the Zoom. Can I call you when I finish? Thanks. She needs help on something. But anyway, I'll have to call her mother. Let me see. Giselle, can you take care of this real quick? I need to call her mother, okay? Giselle, 2 minutes. Where's Giselle? Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, hi everyone. Good evening. I'm sorry I have to close my camera because I'm outside our house because of the internet connection. Parang uulan nata dito sa amin. Anyone who wanted to share related to Dr. Merlina? So if everyone, I think there are lots of, there are some who are already regulars here, like Maria Emilia. Hi, ma'am. You would like to share, ma'am, something to us tonight? Hello? Mansad, nadunggan ako, Mansad.
We cannot hear you clearly.
Yes, ma'am. Ilang laom-laom gamay.
I'm using I'm using headset. Maklaro na, Mansad?
Yes, ma'am, maklaro ra.
Okay. Pasensya na ako sa gawa. Kay, kasi bigwan dari sa mo. Hinay ang internet connection. I'm sorry, I'm talking Bisaya. That's the point of the vernacular. So, okay, ikaw po you wanted to share something.
I have nothing to say, Ma'am Giselle. Listening, taking up notes.
Yeah. So, here's to share. By the way, my son and I, for those who are new, I've been here in this group for 2 years already. I started September 2022. And last year, as a bit of background, me, my son, and the other 11 were hired supposedly immediately on the processing of papers in the middle. No, it's not in the middle. I think that was the superintendent died, so everything was canceled. But the 10 of us or the high schools were already there in the United States. Some are in Ireland and some in other parts, in the other parts of the US. So we've had already interviews, but we're not, we don't have our time yet. So nandito pa rin kami sa Philippines ngayon. So yes, for those who are new, just keep on trying and maybe going back to Zoom again because as for me, my experience, I have learned so much from Dr. Molina, not just the answers of the interviews, but for the classroom management as well. So I have used some of Dr. Molina's activities in the classroom, especially the as for this one, as of the moment, I am using the journal thing because I am going to advisor here in Talisay City. We do computers, write the journals every day. But one thing is the language. They would ask me if they could write it in Bisaya or in Tagalog. But yes, they're doing that. And it's very useful with the knowledge of content, knowledge of students rather. Because you would know the students from the journals. Also, I have also learned other strategies like gallery work and everything that is taught. And also the other teachers either in the US or also sharing their experiences and that they are using. So Mamina a while ago, just today she is going to somewhere, so she did not share some of her strategies and her experiences. But Mamina is one of my Thursday idols in terms of strategies because she's really good and she's really good at talking also. And so John also so John Jeffrey Consideria is one of us. In the teachers in the Philippines is one of the teachers of the Rensep before. And he's one of us. He's already there in Missouri with some of the Filipino teachers. And he's also good, he's very good at strategies also. And what else? No, gusto na ako nasasabihin. Everything just because I'm ilang lang. Hi, Mom. So, let's see. So, Ryan, Nabial, sir, di ba? Are you already in the US, sir, or are you still here in the Philippines?
Hi, Ma'am Giselle. Good, good evening. I'm still here in the Philippines, ma'am.
Hello, maybe you can share
Yes,
some.
I am. I am joining Miss Merlina's Zoom for quite some time.
Yeah, she has.
I
He
just
has. Ryan, thank you for seeing you. Giselle, thank you. Yeah.
yes, Miss Merlina. Good morning
Good
there. And
morning.
then
Yeah,
it's almost midnight here in the
I
Philippines.
know. We need to end soon. Yeah. Ryan, how are you doing? Are you still wanting to come? You still applying?
Yes, Doc
Yeah.
Merlina. Good evening.
Okay. I was thinking
Yes,
you
Doc
would be here
Merlina.
by. I was thinking you'd be here by now. Not yet?
No, I am still here. Yes, Dr. Merlina, I'm still here in the Philippines, and I've been through probably multiple principal interviews, 3 or 4.
Why do you think that you
And
didn't go though? Why didn't you think that you did not pass and get the job? What did you do differently?
I almost have a job offer that was last year in Arizona. A principal interviewed me, and then they picked somebody who is already there in Arizona.
Okay.
The principal promised me to that I will have the offer, but then after a week, they emailed me again, and then they said that they already have hired one who is already there in Arizona. So
It comes down to money, Ryan.
um,
It's because they don't have to spend money if they're already here. So yeah, it comes down to
yes, yes, and
yeah.
I understand that, Miss Merlina. And then yeah, regarding the actually, I have principal interviews in New Mexico, in Wisconsin, and then
Yeah.
probably like those states, and then I wasn't able to ace it. I
Well,
don't know what's probably there's something wrong with not that something wrong, but lacking on my answers because as you know I am an ELA. I'm an English teacher. Um yeah. And
so
then they
their question is gonna be aligned to what I believe. So you gotta have to refer it to how you teach children to be readers and writers. So I put it in there. So you need to say that, you know, you want them to be readers, you need the writers, and you need to model as a teacher that you are a reader and a writer. That kind of idea, put it like that because that's what they want to hear. And that's what I believe anyway.
yes. Yes, Doc. Actually I am listening to what you were saying just a while ago regarding our students here in the Philippines at the same time in the US when we are teaching sentence construction, the different structure in constructing a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I am teaching ELA or English from grade 7 to grade 10, and it's quite challenging to teach Filipino students. I believe that it is also challenging there in the US. But then, yeah, probably the one thing that, you know, I wasn't able to answer during the interview was when the principal asked me on he said, can you please give me four concept in teaching ELA? And then I was gonna have like mental block that time and I can't think of anything or any concept in teaching ELA.
What core
So
concepts do you think that she was asking? What specific concepts? Is it about reading, writing, speaking, listening? Is
yes, actually I have answered those questions with that answer. What you said, Doc Marlena, reading, listening, like that. And I believe, based on the facial expression from the principal, it's not the
yeah,
thing that he wants me to,
okay.
yes, to
So
answer.
you can say things like in literacy, for example, in reading, they're gonna want you to focus on comprehension, decoding, all that stuff. And then on writing, they're gonna see if what you're gonna talk about, vocabulary development, and so doing the different structures and all the different styles and choices of words. Those are the things that they are gonna want to talk about. It's gonna be about reading and writing. So you need to choose one that you're gonna talk about because reading and writing are so huge. So you're gonna say, so you can even ask them like, give me specific. Is it about reading, writing, or speaking and listening? And then they would say reading possibly. So you need to come up with some four concepts about reading. Reading comprehension would be one of them. And so then you need to so for example, in reading comprehension, make sure that the students can visualize what they're learning. They're making connections before the reading, during the reading, and after the reading. And these are some strategies I can use, and email me and I will send you the strategies. Because I just had a list of them. Well, if you go to chatgpt.com and put list strategies before reading, during reading, and after reading, and it will tell you strategies and it tells you how to do it. Okay.
Okay,
Make sure that
okay,
you do
Doc,
that.
okay,
Then you
Doc.
can talk. So when the next time you ask that question, you tell them the four specific things, that major things that you're going to do during reading, and then talk about strategies. So it's about reading strategies. So you're pretty much picking the strategies before, during, and after, and pick the ones that work for you. Those are the things that they want to do,
Okay.
specific things.
Actually, I was able to answer with those answer that I have said a while ago. Sad thing is I wasn't able to ask the principal what specific concept in ELA did he mean, and then yeah, it's like that because during the principal interview, um there during that time I think that is around 10 to 15 minutes only,
Mm-hmm.
and then I wasn't able to ask what specific concept in ALA did
Okay.
he mean by
So,
that.
so if you don't really have the time to do it, I would just pick it myself directly. I said, okay, in reading, for example, these are some focus that I need to make sure that before I read anything or have my students read anything, I pick 4 multisyllabic vocabulary words that I know they're going to struggle with, and I'm going to use a Freyer model in order for them to use that, put the word and use it in a sentence in their own way, and then use the meaning of it in their own way, and then maybe draw something. That's my Freyer model, and then use it, and then after my vocabulary development, then they read it, and as they read, I'm going to stop at certain places, and I'm going to make sure that I ask them some comprehension questions, some maybe some figurative language that I find there, some different things that you do is almost like really detailing them what you do in reading class. Okay, so from choosing the vocabulary
Okay.
words, the reading before, to the reading during, and to the reading after. That's really pretty much what you're doing. Is they're asking it in a very vague way, but that's really what they're asking. And so if they're talking about reading, then you're going to ask them about, the reading prompts, the different types of writing. You're going to have the expository writing, the informative, explanatory, your argumentative, and your what's the last one? The reflective narrative. It's about the story elements. So
Okay.
you can kind of break it down to what it is. So just go with that, with those 2 things, reading or writing. So
I believe I was able, Doc Merlina, I was able to mention when we talk about vocabulary, the context clues,
yes,
understanding that
yes,
unfamiliar words in a sentence.
good.
So yeah, I was able to mention it, but yeah, probably
Yes.
there's a lot of things, when we talk about reading,
Mhm.
that links on the comprehension,
But
the
you
vocabulary.
make it
That's a lot of
specific.
things.
Make it specific, Ryan. You say, for example, the last story, the last text that we read was this, and these were the words that I had them to do. Make it specific. It's terrific. Make it really not just anybody could say, but it's Ryan's experience. Okay, so make it an example of what really happened in your classroom. That would make it more powerful answer. Okay, when I was telling you
And
about these things, I was actually thinking about what I just did with that school with 12 days. These are some things that I did with them. So yeah. So yeah.
and also, Doc Merlin, the principal asked me regarding, okay, Ryan, what was the last book that you have read?
Yes, that's
And
important.
then
Yeah.
yeah, he asked me about it, and then I said, the last book that I've read is Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. It's quite interesting.
Well, yeah, but that's what we use to teach every year. That's not what they're asking. They were asking to know if what's your current book that you're reading lately. So it could be a Grisham
Mm,
book. It will be any of the authors. It will see. I love the genre that Grisham writes. And so you need, even if you didn't read it, you need to find out the titles that they have. John Grisham is a really good title. And also the teaching books, like Good to Great is a good book to say. And about anyway, so look for books there. You can also chat GPT this. The literacy teachers should know books, list of books that literacy teachers should be reading in 2025. You can put those lists together and be ready for those. So even if you don't
Probably he's
write a book,
asking on, yes, Doc Merlina. Probably he is asking about the book that I'm using when I'm teaching here in the
okay.
Philippines.
Okay.
But what I've answered is Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. I was able to mention J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter
Good.
book
But
of series like
yeah,
that.
Harry Potter is elementary. So if you're gonna if you're gonna
Yes,
talk about it in high school, then that's not grade appropriate. So you make
yes,
sure,
Doc.
yeah, you're high school, right? Are you high school?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Doc. Secondary at high
Don't
school.
mention Harry Potter. Harry Potter's a long time ago. They don't even know that now, the high school kids.
Ah, yes, Doc.
That's a long time ago.
Okay, Doc.
And so find ones that are the young adult reader that they are using now. I think one, I don't remember. There was some dystopian novels. So think about some dystopian novels that are new lately. I think I am anyway, somebody gave me a book and it's in my car and I forgot the title, but anyhow, but that's what everybody's reading now. And so she said, I have an extra copy, you can have it. And I'm like, okay, but I have not started. That's how I know. Yeah. So it's like a dystopian
Okay, Doc.
novel where I think somebody had to do something before they would. I know. Anyway, I forgot what she said, but
I'm gonna search for
dystopian
that.
novels are
This
always good, huh?
Tokyo novel.
Yeah.
I'm
I
I'm sorry, Doc.
I said I am Grace or I am something. Anyway, so something with Grace in it. And anyway, so yeah, Brian is as a literacy teacher, you have to know at least 2 or 3 books that you're going to be reading. When I was teaching, I would have a book in my bedroom. I had a book in the living room. I have a book in the bathroom. I'm going. So I'm always reading. So I have a teaching book in the bedroom. I have some beach trash in the bathroom. Different genres that I'm reading because you are a reader, you are a literacy teacher and you are a reader because these are some genres that you could possibly share with the kids, some of the style, some of the, mentor text that you could use in order to teach. Yeah. So anyway,
Yes, so thank you so much, Doc.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's always
Yes,
nice talking to you. Let me know if you
yes,
have another
Doc,
interview and
likewise.
let's practice. If you have another interview with
Okay, Doc. Thank you so much.
okay. All right.
Okay, Doc.
Okay. Nice
Thank
seeing
you so much.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Bye-bye. Is there anybody else?
Bye, Doc.
I have my niece is an emergency and I have to go see. I talked to her mother. I mean, I just contacted her mother, so I need to see what I can do. So I'm gonna have to close this up unless somebody else would like to talk before I close it.
But
Um,
there is Emilia. I was so she said she's a teacher from Ghana. She's a Ghanaian teacher. I think she's from Ghana. She said she wanted to talk.
I cannot hear very well. It looks like your voice is like distorted.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now, Doc?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Yeah. There is a somebody here. She's mom, Emilia, who
Okay.
also answer. She said she's a Ghanaian teacher. I think she's from Ghana. She wanted to talk, Doc.
Okay, that's fine.
Hi, Mom
Hello,
Amelia. It's your turn.
hello, good afternoon here,
Hey, good afternoon. Hey,
and
I
then
think
good morning.
you have Emilia. Have you? Yeah, I think I recognize you. You have been emailing me. Thank you. I'm so glad that you got the link.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So what
Yes,
so
thank
what
you
have
very
you
much
done?
for this opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. We do this every 2
Uh,
weeks. Same link. Yeah.
yeah, okay,
So
okay.
so how do you say? Do you go by Emilia? Do you go by Emilia? Is
Yes,
your name?
please.
Okay. So Emilia, what's up? What have you done? Like in application process, where are you at?
I've applied for a school, but I'm on high for now. Waiting for principal interview.
Okay. You are, and so you are waiting. Okay. So
Yes, please.
you have applied through which channel? Did you do that schoolspring.com, www.schoolspring.com? Did you do that? Or did you go to that?
Uh, Actually, a friend gave me the link, so it was a GEC. I used the agency GEC,
Oh, okay.
Global Educational Council. Yeah.
So GEC, you have paid a lot of money already then. You use that's a
No,
no, not yet. Okay. So that's a
not yet.
sponsor.
Yes,
Is
yes, it's a
the one
visa
with
sponsor.
yeah, are they on the list? I don't remember if GEC is. Yeah, it is. They're on the list, right? On the visa sponsor
Yeah.
list. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
I think GEC likes to contact their own school. Is that right? Or is it okay that you look for your own school? I don't remember.
No, they contact the school for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you have
Yeah.
to pay them anything or not yet?
I've not yet paid anything.
Okay, good. Don't be careful about paying something in advance because I have some teacher candidates that have paid $5,000, $6,000 and they didn't get anything from that. So you be careful, okay? So you need to be out money. They better be on the list of that designated visa sponsor that you can Google, and there's a word bridge on it, and there's a list of them. Those are the only ones that could be visa sponsors. So if they're not on the list, they're a third party agency, and anybody can do that, and that would be asking you money. And what they do is they just connect you to the visa sponsored list. So why do you need that bridge when you can go directly to the visa sponsor? So
Yes,
yeah. So
yes. I
anyway,
think it's a visa sponsor.
okay, well, let's practice
Uh,
then. Give me a 2-minute introduction of yourself, an elevator speech about Emilia.
okay. I'm Emilia Usuansa, a Ghanaian and a teacher by profession. I teach chemistry and integrated science. I pursued my bachelor's degree in educational science education. I majored in chemistry and minored in biology. I also pursued my master's in educational management and practice. I've been teaching in a public senior high school for the past 14 years. I am very enthusiastic, hardworking teacher. I'm very dependable and passionate. I am always ready to help my learners achieve and then come out successfully. I share in the ideology that the mind of the learner is not just an empty vessel to be filled, but fire to be ignited. And so I engage my students in critical thinking, asking them open-ended questions. I also involve them in practical sessions, and then apply what I teach to them mostly in everyday life to help them to be able to achieve my objectives. I am very collaborative because I've even collaborated with one of my teachers, and we have even come out with a chemistry workbook, which is helping the students, containing questions that helps them to think critically. I also keep journals with my students, and at the end of the day, we discuss what we have done in class. Those who are absent, we record. I record all in my journal so that at the next meeting, I know those who were absent, and then find ways and means to help them also, so that they will not miss the class that we had.
Very good. Awesome. Awesome introduction. I like it because you are, yeah, go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
Okay, so my philosophy in teaching is that every learner matters and counts. And so I differentiate my instructions. I am just responsive. And then also I use think, pair, and share. Sometimes I even assess my students. I engage in collaborative learning, personalized learning. But in some of my assessments, they think, pair, and then share and write the answer. So I tell them, if you agree, you write the same answers, because they will share ideas and then write the answer. But if you don't agree, whilst you discuss, then each person should write his or her answer.
Good job.
Then I also assess them. I give them feedbacks too, because I like feedbacks, and because that helps to know whether the student is improving or not. And I also monitor the progress of my learners.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, though those are very complete, very thorough. The feedback, make sure you say the words immediate feedback, or you could say differentiated feedback and specific feedback. You don't just say good job. You say, oh, you did a very good job of doing this and this and this. You know, so yeah, you can say things like, I believe in giving specific, giving what's that, personalized feedback to students and specific to what they've done. It's not just a vague good job. It's not just an umbrella good job or excellent job. So you can kind of say that in addition, but the rest are great. I love that after I finished listening to you, I knew that you know about students because of your journal things, and I know that you do content because you showed me some strategy from TWPS and to the other things that you mentioned, and then your assessment you showed that too, and then your reflection. That's the only piece that I think I'm not very sure if you have included. So you might want to say something about, then when my lesson is done, I always reflect, what went right, what went wrong, what do I need to fix, or where do I need to go next? Okay, which child missed it, and that I need to, do an individualized instruction with or tutoring with, so you can do that reflection piece, but the rest of them you did collaboration very well. So yeah, those 5 core propositions. Okay, so I've been talking to, if you watch any of my video, Emilia, you have seen us talk about the 5 core propositions. Right?
Yes, please.
If you just like I said to the other person earlier, that if you would use the 5 core proposition as your umbrella, as your organizer, and all the great things that you did, put it under those. So for example, to get to know my students, I believe in using the 5 core national board propositions, so these are the 5 things, and then first, knowledge of students. I believe that it's very, very important to know my students, and I do this by doing this. And you did something about the journal, whatever. And then I said, next, the second one is knowledge of content. And I use this using the strategies that I use that would work in science. And you can do the connection, the relevance in life, and having them to do the different activities or whatever you mentioned. And then the assessment, you really did say that too. And then so the collaborative piece would be your communication with parents or guest speakers that you bring in, some experts that you may have brought in. It could be something online that you have, that you have used. Or utilized. So, but other than that, that's amazing. That's amazing introduction. So you should do well,
Thank you
okay?
very much.
Yeah, and
Thank you very much.
yeah, you could also include like, why do I want to go to America? I want to go to America because of this, and be sure
Okay.
that you focus this not just on your learning, but also not just on student learning, but also you learning from students. Okay, so for
Okay.
both
Yes, please.
professional and personal learning, because I believe that students can also teach teachers, and because I believe that teach teachers, and as somebody from Ghana, then I will learn the American culture, while at the same time I'm also sharing my Ghana culture to my students.
Okay.
So yeah, so the sharing of those information will help us become better learners and better teachers. So yeah, so those are some good stuff, right?
Thank you.
I just told students not to use stuff. You need to be specific. Those are
Yes,
good
please.
things, good ideas to learn. Yeah, you have to be
Okay.
specific about what it is, not just things, not just stuff, but aspects, features, this like that.
Okay.
Anyway, you have any questions for me? You have obviously have seen some of my videos, so you have any particular questions specific to you and your context?
I think I've sent you my resume, but I've not
Have I sent
received
you the
any
thing back?
feedback.
I'm not, oh, well,
Y-
I need to check
Yes,
if it's
but
in my spam because I always answer. My email's always empty every day. So if I did
okay.
not see it, that means it might be in my spam. So I'll go check it. Okay. So
Yes, please.
yeah. So it might be in my spam. So well, I'll have to check it. But if not, I'll let you know, or please do a follow-up. Say, hey, did you find it? Because otherwise,
Yes, please.
yeah, I get, oh my gosh, I get so much spam every day, and I try to block every one of them, and it still comes back. So I don't know. Sometimes if you send it to a lot of people, they will go straight to spam. So I don't know if you send it
Okay.
directly to me or to other people too. But anyway, okay. But it was so nice to talk to you. I was wonder how you look
Yes.
because I feel like we've communicated quite a bit, and so
Yes.
so cool. Yeah, that you sound
I
like a
really,
very
I,
great teacher, huh?
I really wanted to see you online. I
Oh, that,
tried on the 8th, but unfortunately I was not able to. So I spoke to you and then you gave me the link again. Thanks very
yeah,
much for
you're
this
welcome.
opportunity.
Are you always welcome to come and join us every 2 weeks? Okay. So the next one,
Okay,
what is the
I'll
next
be
one?
joining.
That would be I guess which 27. So it's gonna be the 5th. The 5th.
Okay,
April 5th is our next one. Yeah. So we always skip every other Friday, Saturday. So we skip next Saturday and the next one. So we always skip every other. So that way, because we used
okay.
to do every Saturday, and that kind of got old. My husband said, we got kind of life too. So every Saturday, I'm like,
Yes.
blocked because of Zoom. Now it's only every other. But yeah. All right. Well, keep in touch with me, and I will try to remember and see. We have some teachers, and also if you go to mingahouse.org, and that's Glenn is the person there, and he is always looking from people from different countries. And he did mention
Okay,
because they have a limit of so many from different countries, and I know Philippines always hit the limit quickly, but he will have some from your part of the world. So you need to find
okay,
out from Glenn and say, Glenn, Dr. McCullough had referred me. So is there something that you could help me with to place me,
okay,
And so tell him because he said he had helped more than 15,000 teachers. He has been in business for more than 10 years. He's a nonprofit. So if he asks you for
okay,
anything, it just be so little. It's not going to be big because it might just be for something that he needed for processing or whatever. But he's not gonna cheat you. He's not gonna rip you off.
okay,
And I like him a lot. So anyway, so that would be the only one that I would actually recommend. And another one,
okay,
on the sponsor, my partner is culturalvistas.org. That's Caroline. So yeah, if you go to culturalvistas with an s.org, you can visit that. Caroline is also very, very nice and very helpful. And they usually have, I don't know how many slots they have. In every sponsor has so many slots available. And so, I guess let me think, around this time, that's when teachers and, superintendents I'm sorry, schools and districts are looking at who's coming back and who's not coming back, who's retiring. And that's when they determine what are their needs. So this one here, March through June, those are some really good, span of time that they will be doing interviews. And a lot of
okay,
them will start in April. So
Okay.
April and May are hot times to do it. And so by the time June comes around, there's not very many slots available. So you really need to be actively looking, do more than one a day on the schoolspring.com. I know some people that would do at least 6 a day, because it
Okay.
doesn't cost you anything to email, you know. So
Yeah.
just make sure that when you do your cover letter, I want you to look at their job description and look at things there that might stick out that they really need other than, specified as different than others, and include that in your cover letter. And in that way,
Okay.
some of them would actually use their job description as a little checklist. They're gonna look at it on your cover letter and see if it's there. So,
Okay.
yeah, or resume. So anyway, okay. All right. Well,
Thank
thank
you very
you.
much.
And you know what? I'm gonna see if I'm gonna see if anybody else would like to talk, because I need to go. My niece, I think, has some health issues that she need me to help take care of. So, okay. Thank you again. Okay, anybody else that's here that want to talk, and don't want to waste your time to come, and then you did not get to talk if you want to. But if you don't want to, that's okay too. I'm trying to see who else here. I know I talked to Ryan, and Emilia's here. Verlin, I talked to Verlin. Oh, thank you for staying for a long time. I know it's really late, but I will send you the link to this video. And if you don't get the link, email me, because that means you're not in the distribution list. So you can also find it on our ITSA, International Teacher Support in America website, or my YouTube. If you search my name, Dr. Merlina McCullough, and ITSA, you will see my channel. And I have more than 500 videos there, 93 of them. This will be the 93rd video on Zoom. So lots of learning, and I've learned from you. I do not just give all the knowledge. I also learn from every one of you. And Emilia, I look forward to learning about Ghana from you. I really think that you have a really cool country, and that's on my list, that one day I will visit you. So maybe I'll visit that country. So maybe you could help me learn more about what to see there. I love to travel. So anyway, all right. So this one is, I guess, bye-bye. I know that you're making a difference in the lives of kids. So keep doing what you do best, and be an example with a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. You're not there yet. Yet should be your favorite word, so that to model students that we are in the process of learning it. Yes. Okay. All right. This is Marlena from Arkansas, and hoping you the best of the rest of your school year. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
Doc.
Doc.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Doc. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doc.
Sorry for taking so long. I would say get shorter. Okay, guys.
It's
Bye-bye.
okay.
All right. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay, the 5th of April. Okay. Bye-bye.